The visitors came into the Bronx and very nearly delivered a knockout blow. 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in the first 2 games for MVP candidate Juan Gonzalez. After a Game 1 victory, everything seemed to be going Texas's way the next night as well. A 2-0 lead in their sights, just a few outs away, in fact. But then a late Yankee rally forced extra innings. And in the bottom of the 12th, Dean Palmer threw away this attempted sacrifice bunt off the bat of Charlie Hayes. Derek Jeter came home, and the Yankees headed to Texas, even at a game apiece. Tonight, in the first playoff game ever in Arlington, young Darren Oliver, 14-6 for the year, gets the call for Texas. What David Cone and Andy Pettit couldn't do in the first 2 games for New York, Joe Torre hopes Jimmy Key will be able to do. Game 3 of the division series, next.
NBC Sports presents the American League Division Series. Tonight, it's Game 3. The New York Yankees versus the Texas Rangers.
Minutes away from the first home playoff game in the quarter-century history of the Texas Rangers franchise. The beautiful ballpark in Arlington, the 3rd year for this facility for the Rangers. They had one of the best home records in all of baseball here, and much of it at the expense of the Yankees. They beat them 5 out of 6 here this year, and over the last 3 years, the Yanks have dropped 21 of 29 in Texas. Hi again, everybody. Bob Costas along with Joe Morgan and Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker. Well, the Yankees have to be happy, all things considered, that they got out of New York with a split, but they will not be around much longer if they don't figure out some way to deal with Juan Gonzalez.
Well, you're right, Bob, and when I talked to Joe Torre before the ballgame today, he says he doesn't know what he's going to do with him yet. But the one thing they can't do is make the same pitching mistakes they made in the first ball game. This pitch here is in the middle of the plate. It was supposed to be on the inside corner, so he hits a home run off of David Cone. This pitch is supposed to be on the outside corner. He gets the middle of the plate. He hits the first home run off of Pettit. You can see where it was supposed to be. And the final time up, he wants to come inside. You have to come inside, but they get the middle of the plate again. Home run number 3. You have to keep him honest by coming inside, but you cannot make any mistakes. I think they have to force someone else in the Texas lineup to beat them.
Control artist Jimmy Key tonight for the Yanks, but he did not fare well at all this year against Texas. 0-2, hit hard both times. His last outing here in late July gave up 3 home runs, one of them, as you might expect, to Juan Gonzalez. His opponent tonight, Darren Oliver, who was 14-6, Uke.
He's a hard-throwing left-hander, Bob, and a guy who beat the Yankees. His only victory against New York came against Jimmy Key in that game here at the ballpark in Arlington back on July the 31st. He worked 7 innings in that game and allowed 2 runs. He's got a 90-plus fastball, good curve, and a very good change of pace. The Yankees 20-27 against left-handers in 1996.
The contrast, Oliver, like his team, new to the playoffs. Key, like his storied franchise, has been in the postseason many times before. One more item. The Rangers are in the playoffs for the first time in their history. The Cowboys have a bye this weekend. Football town or no, there is no excuse for any right-thinking citizen of this community not to be thinking baseball tonight. Game 3, next. With a change of venue, a change of lineups for Joe Torre against the left-hander Darren Oliver. Derek Jeter, who had begun the season as the number 9 hitter, moves up to the leadoff spot. Tim Raines drops to number 2 tonight. Bernie Williams will hit 3rd. Cecil Fielder, a solo homer and an RBI single in Game 2, is back in the DH spot. Strawberry on the bench. Fielder, the cleanup man. Tino Martinez will hit 5th. Mariano Duncan 6th. Paul O'Neill dropped to 7th. He's 1 for 9 in the series. Charlie Hayes in against the left-hander. Boggs on the bench, and Girardi catches and bats 9th. Oliver was 14-6. Prior to this year, he'd been a reliever most of his career. When you look at that ERA, you have to take into account that the league ERA is around 5 runs a game. Even the best pitchers have seen their earned run averages elevated in this year of the hitter. Oliver will be 26 on Sunday. Born in Kansas City, grew up in California. The son of former big leaguer Bob Oliver. High and away, ball 1 to Jeter. Did you play with or against Bob Oliver, Joe?
Both. I played against him mostly. Pretty good hitter.
In fact, for the 73 Angels, Bob Oliver had 33 homers and 100 RBIs. Infielder with Pittsburgh, Kansas City, the Orioles, the Yankees briefly. Next one to Jeter, misses. One of Jeter's 4 hits in the series, a double. 2-1 pitch. And Oliver falls behind 3-1.
When you talk about playoff experience, this is where it comes in, especially with a starting pitcher. He has to get off to a good start.
Jeter swings on the 3-1 pitch, little flare into shallow right, and Gonzalez comes on to make the basket catch.
There you see the Texas defense. Greer, Hamilton, and Gonzalez left to right in the outfield. Palmer, a key man in game 2 against the Yankees, at third. Elster at short. McLemore again at second. Will Clark at first. And Pudge Rodriguez doing the catching with Darren Oliver doing the pitching. You know, one of the things, too, that you got to take into consideration about Oliver tonight is the fact that he's not working in New York, Bob. He's working in front of a friendly crowd here in Texas in his first postseason appearance.
Oliver is reputed to be a serene sort, not likely to be shaken, but nonetheless, as you say, better off in front of the home crowd, and this is his first ever start of anything like this importance.
Bob, I don't want to let this point get away. We saw Derek Jeter swing at a 3-1 pitch. That's the deficiency that the Yankees have. They do not have a legitimate leadoff hitter.
Another chance for Gonzalez. Scarcely has to move. 2 out.
And my point there is a leadoff hitter that when he goes 3-1 in his first at bat, he is supposed to take that next pitch, make the pitcher work. We see Tim Raines get ahead in the count 2-0, and Oliver has gotten out of this inning so far with 2 outs and only throwing 2 strikes. You have to make the pitcher work, especially a guy that does not have a lot of experience like Oliver.
Well, Jeter hit 9th the first 2 games of the series. Joe Torre moves him up to the leadoff spot against the left-hander, but told us in the clubhouse before the game, as you said, he's going to go up there hacking. He's not the classic leadoff man in the sense that he's trying to wait the pitcher out. Bernie Williams takes a strike.
Both Jeter and Raines, Bob, too, with little fly balls to right on that 90-plus fastball from Oliver.
Saw the numbers on Williams, a disproportionate amount of his power from the right side when you consider that only about a third of his at-bats were right-handed. He hit 16 of his 29 out of the park from the right side. Gonzalez racing toward the line. This ball carrying pretty well into the corner and up and over the fence for an opposite field home run for Bernie Williams. And boy, did that ball carry, Joe.
Well, it's down the right field line. It's short down the line. That ball curved right around the pole, but he must have hit it very well because that ball just continued to travel. I first thought Gonzalez had a shot at it.
All 3 balls hit right field. This one carries into that corner in right. This again is a fastball from Darren Oliver. And Williams got it all.
We'll get another look at it after the first pitch to Fielder. Off-speed pitch high and away.
Here it is again. This is a fastball right around the outside part. And you see Williams a bit tardy, that ball slicing into the corner, and he hit it out of here.
This ballpark is built in right field to be similar to Detroit. And that ball right down the line is only 325, so it's very short down the line. This is very similar to Tiger Stadium in right field.
Next one to Fielder, misses. What breeze there is tonight appears to be blowing out in that direction, and it helped push the home run out of here for Williams. 1-0 New York. Two and 2.
You see that right field line, 325 as Joe said in the corner, then angling out. A lot of nooks and crannies in this ballpark. A lot of different caroms and bounces.
full count of fielder. Generally, the left and right fielders here will bunch toward the gaps because there's so much room in the power alleys. A lot of triples in this park. And that's in the seats foul. Darryl Strawberry got the start in game 1 against the right-hander Burkett. Stranded 4 runners. Then Fielder started game 2, had the solo homer and an RBI single. And an obvious choice to be back in against the left-hander tonight. McLemore has it, and that finishes the Yankees in the first, but not before the Williams home run gives them an early 1-0 lead. Gorgeous night for game 3 in Texas, and here's the lineup for the Rangers, put together by Johnny Oates and faced by Jimmy Key. Hamilton, Rodriguez, and Greer. Gonzalez, who has just destroyed the Yankees. He might be the MVP. He's wrecked the entire league, but what he has done to the Yankees has been close to unbelievable. Clark, Palmer, Tettleton, McLemore, and Elster. Hamilton, who at .293 for the year. Shows bunt, takes a ball. Tim Cheetah is the plate umpire. Tim Welke at first. John Shulock at second. Ted Hendry at third. Left field line, Drew Coble. Right field line, Greg Kosk. And that one's in there. Both starting pitchers tonight coming back off rotator cuff surgery. Each missed a substantial part of the '95 season because of it. Charlie Hayes in close at third, as you saw. But now the count at 1-2, and Hayes moves back.
Well, Jimmy Key has a big advantage so far, Bob, simply because they have a 1-run lead. That gives him some margin for error, knowing that he's going to have to face Gonzalez eventually, whether it's this inning or next.
Shallow left, Tim Raines.
And what that'll do is give him an opportunity to experiment with him rather than just walking him. Let's take a look at the defense for the New York Yankees. You mentioned the fact that Hayes is there at third base in place of Boggs tonight, but I think it's Key up the middle. Duncan and Jeter are going to have to make a lot of plays tonight because Key throws a lot of ground balls, keeps the ball in play.
Ivan Rodriguez homered against Key the last time he faced him here a couple of months ago in this ballpark. He's a .375 career hitter against Key with 2 home runs. Ball 1.
You know, when you talk about both of these guys, Oliver and Key, Bob, coming back from rotator cuff surgery, it would seem to be Oliver, the guy who would be more affected in losing velocity. Key has never been that hard of a thrower. It's always been that little tailing fastball and a good breaking ball. He hadn't lost anything. I mean, you talk about coming back from that type of surgery. He's still the same kind of pitcher he was before.
5 LCS starts in 4 different league championship series with Toronto through the years. 2-0 in World Series play. Beat the Braves twice in '92 for Toronto. Fouled off. Left the Blue Jays for the Yankees prior to the '93 season, so he missed Toronto's '93 World Championship, the second in succession for Cito Gaston's team. But he has plenty of postseason experience. One out, nobody on, and his 2-1 pitch to Rodriguez.
And that's what Jimmy Key does best. He fell behind 2-0, but he's made 2 very good pitches to Rodriguez, both being down and away. And there's not a lot that Rodriguez can do with either pitch. The key is if you get behind 2-0, do not give them something that they can drive.
Still 2-2 to Rodriguez with Greer next, and if anybody gets aboard, Gonzalez. But you look at Rusty Greer hitting .332 to take nothing away from him. He's a fine hitter. But how many fastballs is he seeing? How many relatively fat pitches with pitchers worried about this guy next?
Exactly.
Another 2-2. And Rodriguez spoils it again. Jimmy Key is 34 years old, a Florida native. Attended Clemson University. He's never been a 20-game winner. He's won 18 once, 17 twice. He's generally in those mid-teens and almost always goes out there and gives you a decent effort and keeps you in the game. That has not been the case in his 2 starts this year against Texas.
Well, that's been the case with a lot of pitchers against Texas this year, Bob. But you're right. Every time he goes out there, normally he's going to keep you in the game. He just stays with his pattern all the time. He'll go away, away, away. He'll stay there all night long.
Lined, and Duncan has it. So Rodriguez hit it hard, but Duncan had him played in the right spot.
Well, Rodriguez has almost exclusively hit the ball to right field the last month of the season, but with Jimmy Key, that's the way to go. If you're going to hit Jimmy Key well, you have to hit the ball from left center to right center. You can't go up there trying to pull the ball unless you're strong like Gonzalez. You can overpower it. But you see this ball moving down and away, and Rodriguez goes with it. If you want to get an early read on Jimmy Key, all you have to do is watch the target. Watch the catcher's target and see how close he hits it or how often he hits it. And that'll tell you whether he has his good control tonight.
Well, Girardi was asking for it on the outside corner, and that's pretty much where he got it.
Well, I've been noticing that from the beginning tonight, and he has been very close to the catcher's target with each and every pitch.
Greer lays off 1-2. Rusty is 1 for 8 in the series so far. They checked at third, and Ted Henry said no.
It's one of those times when you'll see Jimmy Key come sidearm to a left-hander, get out in front of you, and not only with a breaking ball, it doesn't always have to be a breaking ball. He'll come with that sidearm curve and try to paint you on the outside corner. Just missed on Greer.
Two and two. The regular umpires are working this game. You've probably heard the news. The injunction issued by a Philadelphia judge. And the umpires had said that they would not violate a court order, and they've come to work. So at least for the remainder of this postseason, that issue has been settled. Rolled foul. I think the judge probably did Richie Phillips and the umpires a favor in this sense. Public opinion is entirely in their favor. There's no question that the Alomar penalty was too lenient. Bud Selig, the commissioner, has said he's going to hold a summit, players, umpires, owners, in November in Phoenix and talk about the relationship between owners and players and maybe take a look at revising the penalty procedures. So that's a step forward. And this will make the seats too. But if the umpires, in fact, had missed any of these postseason games, I think they would have lost a lot of the goodwill they have built up in the last several days. There's no doubt the public believes that they were right, and they have made their point now. Another 2-2 pitch and a full count to Greer. And this is one of these situations with Gonzalez on deck.
Right.
How fat might this pitch be to Rusty Greer?
Well, you have to throw a strike.
And he fouls it off.
Well, he got out in front of Greer 0-2, Bob. It's now fallen behind 3-2. Nipping around the outside corner. That breaking ball before this last fastball wasn't all that bad of a pitch either.
Yeah, you'd have to give Greer a lot of credit for laying off of it.
Center field, Bernie Williams turns. This ball is pretty well hit. He's at the track. He's at the fence. And he makes a tremendous leaping catch. It appeared the ball was above the wall. He took at least an extra base hit away and probably a home run. Williams hit one himself and stole another.
A classic never goes out.
Bernie Williams forged the lead with a homer of his own. Then he preserves it by stealing one from Rusty Greer in the bottom half.
Well, he got a great jump on the ball, and he timed his leap perfectly. And he is over the wall, and he brings it back in. He's done this about 5 times this year. And Rusty Greer, knowing he was going to get a fastball, drove it And you can see how disappointed he is. He said, well, that's about all I can do. Nice play there by Bernie Williams. But again, he's made plays like that the entire season.
Tino Martinez steps in to start the second. The only people equally disappointed were the kids who were scrambling down the embankment in anticipation of a souvenir, and they had to pull up short when Williams made the startling grab.
Everybody talks about this being a home-friendly ballpark, a Ranger-friendly ballpark. It's a good hitter's ballpark all around.
Will Clark will take it himself. One first baseman retires the other. Here goes Williams. And pretty soon you'll see these kids showing up in your picture. They smell a souvenir, but hold it right there. Hold on. Come on back. Not worth it. Whoops. Look at him. Ah.
Those might be some of the people that occupy those offices out there in center field. I'll tell you, that's one of the only places in this country.
Yeah. Here's Rodriguez pouncing out. Can he make the play? He pulled Clark off.
Well, he had to hurry, but you could see how good a catcher Rodriguez is and how quickly he gets rid of the ball. I mean, he pounces on this quickly. Oliver, being left-handed, was going to be a difficult play for him. Now watch, you'll see Oliver comes into the pitcher first, but he would have to catch it, whirl, and turn. See, he's left-handed. Rodriguez fires to first base, but he pulls Will Clark off the bag. I mean, he does everything right. He just throws it maybe a little too hard, tried to get a little bit too much on it, and he released it high.
Still a heck of a play by Rodriguez. I didn't think he had a chance. I really didn't. He did get off the throw, and there you see Clark coming off the bag. Going to be an infield single. But I was going to say that area out there is probably the only office complex where you see people want to come to do their business at night. Operations, attorneys, you name it, they got it out there. How'd you like to go under surgery out there during a game?
That wouldn't be the most secure feeling. Guy wielding a scalpel and
sorry,
catching a furtive look at the ball game out of the corner of his eye.
This ball could be out. Sorry.
I think brain surgery, though, is off limits during the postseason. Playoff games a bit too distracting. Here's O'Neill, who's 1 for 9 in the series and dropped to 7th in the order for this game.
Joe Torre talked about that before the game too. He's hit O'Neill 6 from time to time too against left-handers.
Charlie Hayes on deck. And a called strike 2.
Here's that last pitch. This is the Darren Oliver curveball I was talking about earlier. He's got a nasty breaking ball and then that 90-plus fastball.
Duncan back easily.
We had a good close-up there of Oliver, and you can see in his eyes that he's not overly excited. Has his composure, and that's what Johnny Oates said. He's never seen him excited over anything. He said, but if he doesn't get excited over tonight's start, I'm going to have to check his pulse.
Back to Oliver, leaping grab, goes to second. There's one. The flip by Elster, double play. No runs a hit, nobody left. After 1.5, it remains 1-0 New York.
Well, the failure to complete a 1-6-3 double play, I believe, cost them the second game because it cost them a run, and every one run was valuable. This is turned perfectly from Oliver to Elster to Clark, and with a runner at third in the second game, Hill gave a high throw to second base, let a run score, and we all know how valuable runs were in that second ball game, but this is the way to complete it, 1-6-3.
Back live, huge reception for Juan Gonzalez, and Key moves him away a little bit.
You will see Jimmy Key do that. He has to come off the plate inside. People will say, why not just throw everything away from Juan Gonzalez? You will not make mistakes. Well, if you do that, he will go out over the plate and get it. He hit 12 of his 47 home runs to center field or to right field. So you have to keep him honest inside and then go away.
Down and away, 2-0. Coming into this series, the Yankees might have been hoping that Gonzalez was cooling off a bit as the season concluded. He had 3 home runs in his last 20 games. Well, he clouded 3 home runs in the first 2 games of this series.
It's unbelievable what this guy has done against Yankee pitching this year. It really is.
Here's the 2-0. And this one is whistled into center. Maybe that's a moral victory for the Yankees. It's just a single.
Well, you could see where the pitch was. We showed you in the opening how they had made mistakes on him before. This is not a mistake. This is good hitting by Gonzalez. Watch, the pitch is down and away. Look at the target. Pitch is down and away, and he goes out and gets it and still gets a base hit to center field.
Joe, you know, we talked about extension, the extension that this guy gets. Watch this. Watch where this pitch is. I mean, he's right on it. That's not a bad pitch at all.
Right.
And he's right on it and drives it to center.
That's why you can't just stay away from him completely.
Will Clark with a man in scoring position in extra innings. They walked Gonzalez intentionally in game 2, even though Wetland, the right-hander, was on the mound, and even though Clark is a respected clutch hitter, and it was a situation where only a single could have won the game. And the strategy proved correct for Joe Torre as Clark flied out.
Well, they may not make that same move if they were here in Texas, Bob. You make that move in New York because you have one more at bat coming, and you do not want Gonzalez to hit the ball out of the ballpark and maybe get you 2 or 3 runs down. Clark hits a single, you're only 1 run down, you still have the opportunity to catch up. I don't think they would make that same move here in Texas.
1-1 pitch. Key's so effective changing speeds.
That's what he does best. He keeps you off balance. A lot of people think you have to throw hard to keep a hitter off balance, but you do not. That's what good pitching is, keeping the hitter off balance by changing speeds. You can keep a hitter off balance if you have a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. You just overpower him, keep him guessing. But if you have a lot of variety of changeups, you can be just as effective, and that is Jimmy Key.
Now his 1-2 pitch. And a late swing by Clark, a weak wave at it. And he becomes Key's first strikeout victim.
Now this is a breaking ball from Jimmy Key. This really fooled Will Clark. There you see the rotation, that ball pulling away from Clark. It was a bad pitch. I think Will Clark was just looking breaking ball. Bob was going to go and took this bad hack at a bad breaking ball. You know, you got yourself geared. If you're geared for a certain pitch, in your mind, you're saying, I'm going. If it's a breaking ball, I'm looking breaking ball, I'm going. I think that's what Clark did.
Palmer squibs one to the right side. Duncan takes the play at second on a good play to Jeter covering, erasing Gonzalez, and now Palmer becomes the runner at first, but with 2 out.
Was a good play by Duncan because he could have easily just taken the ball and gone to first base for the easy out, but you would have allowed the runner to get into the scoring position. You take the risk because the reward is worth it. The reward is you keep the runner out of scoring position. See, that's not an easy play because he has to throw away from the runner, but Jeter helps him by getting on the outside of the bag. Now watch Jeter. He will be on the outfield side of the bag, right out there, so that he can take the throw and get out of the way.
Now the veteran switch-hitting DH Mickey Tettleton, who hasn't put the ball in play in fair territory in the series. 0 for 6, a foul out, and 5 Ks.
That's quite a stat. Haven't put the ball in play.
He's also walked 3 times.
Boy, he just doesn't give in. I mean, he stays out there all night long. Missed outside with a fastball. Girardi's setting up out there again, and there he is. I'll tell you what, there are some games, there have been some games in this playoff series that's a pretty decent strike.
Hit to short. Jeter shovels it over to Duncan. And that'll do it in the bottom of the second. No runs ahead, a man left. Still 1-0 Yanks.
AT&T and
Costas. Well, we're also joined by Jim Gray, who is down in the stands with American League President Gene Budig. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. Dr. Budig, there's been a lot said and written. Do you regret your decision about Robbie Alomar? And if you had to do it all again, would you do the same thing?
Oh, like an umpire, I made a call. And like an umpire, I am not going to second guess myself.
Is there some information that you might have that the public and us don't have? Is there something that we're missing here?
Oh, I would just simply say that good will come out of this tragedy. Good will come out of it because there will be a meeting involving representatives of the Players Association and the Umpires Association. It will give us an opportunity to explore issues that should have been discussed years and years ago that impact code of conduct.
Charlie Hayes is at the plate. One final question. How do you respond to the public outcry that your sentence, that your penalty was too lenient?
Just what I said earlier. I made a call. I respect umpires. I tried to do what was right. I met with my umpires. In fact, tonight, American League umpires know that I care about them. I very much want to be fair, and I will continue to do that.
Dr. Budig, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Let's go back upstairs to Bob Costas.
And Charlie Hayes whacks this one to short, and Kevin Elster's throw pulls Clark off the bag. He and Hayes collide. Charlie is safe at first. And let's hope that they're both just shaken a little bit and not hurt any more seriously than that. It'll be an Elster error in all likelihood, with Hayes aboard to start the third.
And it looks like they're both going to be all right. Clark up. Hayes is still down on one knee. There's that little flip by Kevin Elster, and wide of first, almost pulling Clark off the bag. He tries to hold the bag and make the catch, and there you see the collision with Hayes barreling into Will Clark.
Bob, I think the problem here is he caught that ball stationary, took a couple of crow hops, then he threw sidearm, and as you know, the ball tails away when you make that throw. And luckily, Will Clark sees him coming. He tries to protect himself right there. Charlie Hayes had no place to go. He couldn't avoid it, so it seems that they're both lucky enough that they're both going to stay in the ball game.
It almost looked like Hayes kind of pulled up, Joe, when he saw Clark coming to make the catch, and it looked like he kind of pulled up a little bit. Watch this. See, he's pulling up right there. He's trying to make the blow a little bit easier than it was on Clark, or even come to the outside of the bag, but he had no place to go.
The error is charged to Elster, and that brings up Girardi, who's a pretty good bunter. Palmer moving in, no sign of the bunt, and a called strike.
Joe brought out a good point, Bob. In any infielder or shortstop, in this case Kevin Elster, that sidearm throw always kind of tails on you. That's why a lot of guys like to get up on top, grab that baseball across the seams, and really cut loose. If it does anything at all, it hops.
Quick throw by Rodriguez, but diving back is Hayes, and you always got to be alert, because Ivan Rodriguez just loves to throw.
I love to watch this guy catch. I really do. Joe Torre told us before the game tonight, when we talked about would you hold back on playing hit and run baseball or stealing bases against Rodriguez, he said no, not at all. We're going to play the game the way we want to play it. The one thing that we caution our runners, watch this guy on pickoffs.
1-1 pitch, swing and a miss on a good fastball. Girardi looking down at Willie Randolph in the third base coach's box. Jose Cardinal, the Yankee coach, at first. We're in the third. The Yankees lead 1-0 on a Bernie Williams home run. Hayes aboard on the Elster error to start the inning. A high hopper, and Oliver's only play is at first when it finally comes down, and he gets Girardi, with Hayes moving up into scoring position. Well, now, gentlemen, listen to this, and I'm going to read it verbatim. Tomorrow night after the game, they're uncouth, unwashed, and uncensored. They're men behaving badly. Wednesday's newest comedy hit is making a special Saturday appearance after the game. Just how outrageous can they be? You will find out Saturday. Men behaving badly following the Padres and Cardinals.
Well, I know you're not uncouth, and I know Bob's not unwashed. I don't know about uncensored. So we'll have to watch and see.
Actually, that could refer to some of the goings-on this week in Major League Baseball. Uncouth, unwashed, and uncensored.
All I know is we're going to San Diego.
Men behaving badly. They can be found in various places. Time was called. Jeter stepped out.
Let's check our trucks first.
Jeter flied to right his first time up. Tim Raines is on deck. Hayes at second with one out in the third. Just to complete the thought after the conversation between Gene Budig and Jim Gray, precedent always has been that regular season offenses, no matter how severe, are not punished with postseason suspensions. Baseball obviously plans to look into that because this situation was not equitable. Fouled off.
Well, why not set a precedent? You don't have to follow things. It's not written as a rule or a law. So, I mean, if that's what you want to do, then you go ahead and do it.
It was Gene Budig's interpretation that the precedent, long-standing as it was, and you can find precedent for it going back decades, that the precedent was as good as a rule. Richie Phillips' interpretation was entirely different. And in the court of public opinion, baseball made the wrong call. The 0-2. Missed 1 and 2.
But I must admit, I thought his answer was pretty good. He said, I made a call, and like the umpires, I'm not perfect. And I think that was an honest answer right there. So that leaves room to say that maybe if he had it to do all over again, he may have done it differently.
Oliver checks Hayes and brings home the 1-2. And the count evens. Well, there were two options. One, apply all or part of the suspension in the postseason, which would have been nearly immediately since the offense happened on the last weekend of the regular season. Or, if you were going to defer it to April, make it 15, 20, 25 games. Something more in keeping with the crime than a 5-game wrist slap. On the inside corner, and Jeter is punched out.
They have had some success pitching Jeter inside. In the first game, Burkett tied him up a lot on the inside part of the plate. They got the ball out over the plate in game 2, and he got a couple of base hits. Here they get ahead. Well, they get 2 strikes on him, and Oliver just busts the fastball inside. You see Jeter, no chance to hit it. Strike 3. See Rodriguez set up on the inside corner.
Now Raines. He flied out his first time. You hate to see Gene Budig in the middle of this, although obviously it's part of the job, but Budig is an honorable and decent man. And one hopes that he can put this behind him, as can everyone involved. And maybe some new approaches will come out of that summit meeting that Bud Selig has called for next month in Phoenix. Something players, umpires, and owners can all find in their mutual interest. Throw in behind by Rodriguez, and he has got Hayes picked off. McLemore running him toward Palmer, and Palmer applies the tag. And sooner or later, if you're careless enough, Rodriguez will make you pay. Yankees give up a scoring opportunity. It's still 1-0.
Well, Joe Torre warned his players about Rodriguez throwing. He tried to pick him off at first. He didn't get him, but he does get him at second base. McLemore covers, and they get him in a rundown, and they tag him out here. But remember one thing, when you're on second base, watch Hayes. He's trying to get a good enough lead so he can score on a single. You have to get a good lead off second base, but you have to be moving back as soon as the ball passes the hitter.
On to the bottom of the third, and a called strike to Mark McLemore. Rodriguez threw out 50% of would-be base stealers, and then throw in the 11 runners picked off during the regular season.
You know, here's a guy that reaches on an error by Elster, and you got a catcher like Rodriguez who can take you out of a jam at any time. I'll tell you what, Tim Cheetah could have picked him off. That's how far he was off second.
Rodriguez is cinched for his 5th consecutive Gold Glove, and you just saw some evidence as to why.
Boy, he loves to throw, too. He really does. He likes to gun it back to the pitcher all the time.
Swing and a miss by McLemore, switch hitting second baseman, former Orioles, celebrating his 32nd birthday tonight. Elster on deck. Then back up to the top of the order for Darrell Hamilton. Bottom of the third. Yankees lead at 1-0 on an opposite field homer in the first by Bernie Williams. Called strike 3. That's the second strikeout for Key. If you're just joining us, Williams kept it a 1-0 game by leaping up over the center field fence to take a home run away from Rusty Greer in the bottom of the first.
Here's that last pitch by Jimmy Key, that little riding fastball, a little tailored down and away. There it is. It's right there. I mean, when you're up there against a guy like Key, and he's going to pitch you that way all night long. Joe, you and I talked about this earlier today. You might as well start having your hacks. He's going to get those pitches on the outside corner either way, and you might as well start cutting.
Ball 1 to Elster.
The one thing that you have to make your mind up, as Joe said back in the opening inning, is you're going to take this guy the other way.
Yes.
If he's going to pitch you out there, go that way.
It would have been pretty hard to conceive of the Yankees coming in here and winning 3 straight, considering all their problems through the years in Texas, had they left the Bronx down 0-2, and that was very nearly the case. Now it becomes a best 2 out of 3 set in this ballpark, with Bobby Witt to oppose Kenny Rogers tomorrow in Game 4. And if there is a 5th game, a reprise of the opener, Burkett against Cone.
That tells you pretty much what you want to know about these two clubs. I mean, pretty similar. They're awfully tight and tough, and it's hard to believe for me that the Yankees have had that kind of a problem in this ballpark, Bob. Not only this year, but going back to its inception.
Mel Stottlemyre and Don Zimmer flanking Joe Torre on the Yankee bench. Full count to Elster. One big difference. The Rangers were one of 4 clubs to hit over 200 home runs this year. They had 221. The Yankees hit just 159. Only the Twins and Royals hit fewer home runs in the American League than the Yankees. But the Yankees allowed the fewest in the entire league. A pop-up to the right side. Tino Martinez. Of course, they weren't so stingy with the long ball in the first 2 games in the Bronx, when Gonzalez hit 3 and Palmer also connected. So now with 2 out and nobody aboard, and Gonzalez still a few hitters away, Key works to Hamilton, who flied out his first time up. Hayes in on the grass at third.
Seems to me that Jimmy Key is starting to get into his rhythm, and once a pitcher like Key gets in the rhythm, he's awfully tough to beat until he runs out of gas.
Uke, am I right in thinking that Key is throwing more fastballs than he usually does?
You know, I was just going to say, Bob, I'll bet you his fastball to breaking ball ratio tonight is about 3-to-1, maybe even more than that. It's been fastball, fastball, away, 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 and every once in a while a breaking ball. There it is on Darrell Hamilton, one of the few that he's thrown tonight. But he's doing good work with his fastball. He really is.
And the reason for that, though, is that you remember now he got beat up here the last 2 times, so he's changing his pattern. We talk about hitters adjusting to pitchers. Pitchers also make the adjustments to teams.
Fouled off, still 1-2.
And I think he feels like they were looking for a lot of off-speed pitches, and they probably were the last time, and they hit him. So if he thinks they're looking for it, then he makes the adjustments and throws a few more fastballs. But he's also using that cutter. It's not a straight fastball. One is sinking a little bit, the other is cutting.
Breaking ball just showed it to him, trying to get him to chase it. 2-2.
Well, I guess he heard you, Bob.
When you're watching Key work against Hamilton here, and you look at the Texas outfield, or the Yankee outfield, I should say, switch way around toward the left side. They're going to pitch Hamilton that way, and hopefully that's the way he's trying to go. I mean, he can't pull anything off the outside corner.
That misses inside. The outfield is very shallow, and Raines very close to the line and left. O'Neill giving him all of the line and right.
Raines is playing Hamilton like a dead right-handed pull hitter. There you see O'Neill way off the line and right.
Payoff pitch. And the Nets do no good. You come to a game, you bring a fishnet, you get a chance like that and you blow it.
I don't see anybody going fishing with bats.
Excellent point, you.
Well, bears repeating.
So why don't you? Still 3-2. 2 out, nobody on. Bottom of the third, 1-0 New York. The Indians stayed alive today at Jacobs Field, winning for the first time against the Orioles with the help of an Albert Bell grand slam. In the air down the left side again, and in the seats again. Cleveland wins it 9-4. B.J. Surhoff connects again, this time in a losing cause though for Baltimore. And Hamilton still hanging in. That sets up this television schedule for tomorrow. The 4th game of this series is here at 1 o'clock Eastern time, noon local time on ESPN. Same time, Baltimore-Cleveland on ESPN2. Hamilton cooperating so that we can finish all this by fouling several pitches off. Late in the afternoon, it'll be the Dodgers and the Braves on Fox. We'll hop a plane out of here after tonight's game and be in San Diego for game 3 of the Cardinals and Padres at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on NBC tomorrow night. After we finish the promo, Hamilton singles to left.
And that was an excellent at bat there by Darrell Hamilton. He fought off everything that Jimmy Key could throw, a couple of inside fastballs, a couple away, and then he just gets a pitch that he can handle. Doesn't try to do too much with it, just slaps it to left field for a base hit. And you see there's the cutter. That's a little cut fastball, but Hamilton doing a good job of staying in there, just fights it off, lines it to left field for a base hit.
That was Key's 11th pitch to Hamilton. And it becomes the second Ranger hit of the night. Hamilton stole 15 bases this year. He was caught 5 times. We mentioned in game 1 that he worked out during the offseason with Leroy Burrell and Carl Lewis.
It should improve his speed anyway and his start.
Rodriguez rips this one into right center field. If it gets in the gap, which it will not, Hamilton might have been able to score, but O'Neill gets over to cut it off. Runners are at the corners now. Rodriguez has always hit Key well. 375 lifetime with a couple of homers coming into tonight's game. His first time up, he hit it right on the nose and lining out to Duncan. This time hit it the same direction, but over Duncan's head for a base hit.
Well, the reason he hits Key well is because he goes the other way. He stays left center, right center. That's you can see him making a conscious effort to hit the ball the other way, even though this ball is not away from him. This ball is inside, but he inside outs it and finds the gap in right field. But that's the way you have to hit against Jimmy Key if you're going to have a lot of success.
Rusty Greer robbed of a homer on a great catch by Williams in the first. Out of play, strike 1.
Elliott, a 3-2 pitch, almost out of here. The great catch by Bernie Williams. He got out in front of him, then fell behind and came with a fat fastball, and he almost hit it out.
Have to throw strikes to Greer. Gonzalez is on deck. Check swing roller, Charlie Hayes. Across the diamond, and Texas leaves 2. After 3, it's still 1-0. Bernie Williams due as the second hitter in the 4th when we come back to Arlington after this. 4th at the ballpark in Arlington. Tim Raines, Bernie Williams, Cecil Fielder due for the Yankees. Raines was at the plate when Rodriguez picked Charlie Hayes off second to end the Yankee 3rd. Tim hit .284 for the year, an abbreviated year for him. Missed almost 4 months with pulled hamstrings, both of them. Switch hitter, as you know, hit .256 right-handed, but that's in only 39 at-bats from the right side this year. He flied out his first time up. Little pop wide of first. Clark over in foul ground. No play.
And that's why this is a good hitting ballpark right there, Bob. That ball is foul, but there's not much foul territory and for an infielder to chase the ball. That gives you another chance to swing. Over the course of a season, normal ballpark, you may lose 15 to 20 outs just on foul balls.
Since this is the Rangers' first postseason game, I imagine a lot of our viewers around the country are not familiar with this ballpark. The double deck in right field is somewhat reminiscent of Tiger Stadium in Detroit. And it has a lot of those old-time features, both in the design and in the nooks and crannies and the odd dimensions that people find so appealing. A retro ballpark. Two-one pitch.
I mean, it looks exactly like Tiger Stadium in right field. It even has the roof up on top. Yeah, there it is right there. That's the view that you would get from Tiger Stadium.
But there isn't a lumber yard across the street, is there?
Not this many people in Tiger Stadium.
I don't think there's anything miles back there, Bob.
Days. Full count to Raines, leading off the fourth.
One of the things about the Yankees against Oliver so far, the right-handed batters, nobody's really pulled this guy. Nobody's got out in front of his gas yet to really jump on something and try to pull it. Everything's been gone the other way.
And a leadoff walk for Raines. In limited duty, Raines, once one of the game's great base stealers, swiped 10 this year and was caught only once. Williams had a full night in the first inning alone. Here's his first at bat. 2 out, nobody on top of the first. And look at him rooting this one on. Come on, he's saying. And it barely creeps over the wall. Just at the 325 sign. Then in the bottom of the inning, Rusty Greer really blasts one to dead center, 400 feet away. And Williams climbs up and over to make the backhanded grab. And as you see, it was right above that white line. It would have tied the game. Williams fouls it off. Palmer was in close just in case Williams dropped a bunt, which would be very unusual for your number 3 hitter in a situation like this.
And especially the way he hit the ball against Oliver back in the opening inning. But again, he's tardy. I mean, he's throwing the ball hard. He's in the 90s, trying to stay away on Williams. Be interesting to see if Rodriguez really tries to bust him inside here, Joe, to keep him honest, as we talked earlier.
Rodriguez playing a little cat and mouse with Bernie Williams. He was actually going to go inside on that pitch. When Oliver threw to first base, he moved back outside like he was outside again.
They don't want you peeking.
No, they don't want you to know where they're going. You see, he sets up right in the middle, and then he goes to the spot he wants Oliver to throw it to, and I think he's going to go inside this time. I want to make the point here, Bob. One of the reasons the Yankees did not hit a lot of home runs is because they're not pull hitters. They use the biggest part of the ballpark, and in Yankee Stadium, you know, it can get, you know, rather long ways to hit it out to straightaway center field. And that's one of the reasons they're not a power hitting ball club, because they do not pull the ball a lot.
In a year when 43 major leaguers hit 30 or more and 17 hit 40 or more, Bernie Williams topped the Yankees with 29.
But if you go through the lineup, Jeter, Raines, Williams, even Fielder, they're not pull hitters. They hit the ball back, left center, right center. They're not pull hitters, so they're not going to hit a lot of home runs. I would bet that a lot of Bernie Williams home runs were like the one we saw earlier this inning, and to right field.
Two balls and a strike. Joe Torre, with Don Zimmer sitting next to him in that dugout, has been very aggressive all season long. Not so much straight steals, although they've done a bit of that, but moving people, getting the infield out of position, trying to shake things up.
That's what he told us tonight. That's the way they played all year long. He admitted they don't have a big power ball club. Forget about Cecil Fielder. Most of his big stuff came with Detroit.
Runner not going. And the count 3-1 to Bernie Williams.
But Joe loves to play that kind of baseball. He's got that kind of a club. I mean, guys that make contact. Look at Willie Randolph sending signs to both the hitter, Williams. Rains at first with good speed.
Williams, as we mentioned during his first at-bat, is a better hitter right-handed. 378 from the right side. And more than half his homers right-handed. Despite obviously having much fewer at-bats from the right side.
You see Bernie Williams, what a difference a year makes. He's another guy, Joe, that's bulked up too. I mean, when Bernie Williams came to the Yankees a couple of years ago, he was long and lean.
Full count now to him.
Well, this is the type of situation where you should send Tim Raines 3 balls and 2 strikes. And I'm noticing one thing. Mark McLemore at second base is playing close to second base. He's giving Williams a lot of the right field side. And Williams is late on everything. You would think that he would move over a little bit and have Elster cover if Tim Raines goes. But he's close to second base. Look at all the territory he's leaving on the right side if Bernie Williams hits a ground ball that way. And he's been late on every pitch he swung at.
Raines is going. Pitch coming. Hit toward the hole and through. Raines rounds second, and he'll chance it. And Greer's throw goes to the middle of the diamond. First and third. Nobody out.
You have to give Bernie Williams a lot of credit there. That's the first fastball they came inside with, and he was able to get around on it. Every other pitch was out over the plate. And watch where this pitch is. Usually this will get you out. See, inside he's able to pull it and get the ball in the hole. Normally you're not going to pull that pitch if everything has been away from you. See, Rodriguez set up inside and the ball's inside. Good hitting here by Bernie Williams.
That's actually the first pitch, first fastball, Joe, that they've pulled against this guy.
Well, that's the first one he got inside to Bernie anyway.
So it's Fielder and ball 1 to him. They'll concede the run and look for the double play. Strawberry, the DH in game 1. Replaced by Fielder the next night. And an easy call for Joe Torre against the lefty here. 2-0.
Darren Oliver all of a sudden falling behind hitters. Now Rodriguez wants to talk to him. There's activity in the Texas bullpen in the 4th inning.
That's Roger Pavlik, an all-star at midseason. Opened the year at 10-1, but in the second half it really went downhill for him, and now finds himself out of the rotation and in a long relief role for the playoffs. They're also without Kevin Gross, who came down with a bad back and missed all of the last month of the season.
Johnny Oates and third base coach Jerry Narron. Saw a moment ago.
That's good hitting there. 25 for 42, 60% in this situation.
Big cut, foul back.
I think I was the most impressed I've ever been with Cecil Fielder was the second game in New York the other day when he hit a single to right field to tie the ball game. And that's what sent the game into extra innings. He gave up a little bit and went the other way and singled to right with 2 outs to drive in a run.
He did the same thing back in the opening inning tonight, Joe, when he lined that bullet to right foul, but trying to go that way on an outside fastball.
Raines away from third. Williams off of first. The 2-1 pitch to Fielder, and the count levels.
He was trying to go downtown Dallas on that one.
You got that right. He missed one the pitch before on a fastball about the same spot, and Oliver comes right back with heat again. There it is. Good fastball. He had a big cut and missed it.
Oliver's 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3 on the off-speed pitch.
This is good pitch selection here simply because successful fielder was late on a fastball, so he figures they're going to come with a fastball again and try to throw it by him. Oliver comes right over the top with that curveball right on the inside corner. Fielder is completely fooled by this pitch. No chance. See, he's geared up for the fastball. He's already out there, and it's a breaking ball. Nothing he could do with it. Good pitch selection there from Oliver.
Tino Martinez grounded to first his first time up. He drove in 117 runs this year and pronounced himself disappointed with that because he had a weak April and an equally slow September. Thought he should have knocked in closer to 140.
.140 was just about an average year in the American League this year, right?
Well, 7 players in the bigs knocked in 140 or more, and by far the record 50 players with 100 RBIs or more in the major leagues this year.
I wonder what the big fella Reggie Jackson would have done in a year like this.
Well, he just joined us in the booth. Maybe we can ask him. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fouled at the plate, 1-1. Prior to this year, the record for most 100 RBI men in a single season was 32. This year there were 50.
Well, the average American League first baseman this year, Bob, with 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. I mean, that was the average.
Two on, 1 out, and the 1-1 pitch. Mariano Duncan is on deck. Top half of the 4th. 1-0 New York. Game 3. Series tied at a win apiece after they split the first 2 in New York. Martinez could not check. And it's 2-2.
One of the problems young players have when they get in trouble is they try to throw their way out of trouble. They try to overpower the hitters. You see a good pitch selection assortment here from Darren Oliver with Rodriguez. They are mixing their pitches very well since he has been in trouble.
The runner breaks from first. They got him picked off. They've got to beware of Raines at third. Running Williams back. Clark with a tag. Raines breaks for the plate. Throw to Rodriguez. He missed the plate and he's tagged out. You could see Tim Cheetah hold up the call. Raines evaded the tag from Rodriguez but missed the plate. And then Ivan came back and laid it on him.
Well, a great call by Cheetah in that he did not make a call. I don't know whether Raines touched the plate or not, but Cheetah made it obvious to everyone that he had not made a call. There was no tag of the plate and no tag of the runner.
There's not much of an argument from Joe Torre. Tim Cheetah explained it very quickly. He missed the plate, and that was it. We'll be back to Arlington after this.
At first and third, nobody out on the top half.
And they ran themselves out of an inning here, Bob.
Second time they've done it, too. Rodriguez picked Hayes off. And then this inning ends with Bernie Williams picked off to start a double play, and a strange one at that.
Well, let's take a look at the play at the plate to see if Raines touches the plate. He does not, but now watch Rodriguez. Watch. See, Raines misses the plate. Look at Rodriguez's eyes. He looks at Cheetah. He sees there's no call made, so he knows that he has to go and re-tag Tim Raines. And that's, yeah, he said that's the way to get out of a jam. A double play any way you figure it.
1-1 pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Raines thought he had hooked that toe in there, but the replay clearly showed that he missed the plate.
Well, another key factor in this whole play, Bob, is Rodriguez. When he moved off the plate more towards the line to force Raines outside. That's why Raines had to go outside and had no chance to tag the plate. If you take a look at it again, you'll see Rodriguez move his foot from one spot to another further towards the line or into the right-handed batter's box to force him outside. Initially, he was right on the corner of the plate. Show you what we're talking about right here. This is after he had moved. If you get the shot prior to this move, there you see Raines. He can't get it. There's no way he can get it. If he's 6'4", he might do it, but not his size. Good play by Rodriguez to force him out there.
2-2 from Key to Gonzalez, and here's a blast on the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. And a foul ball.
I tell you what, if you're the Yankees, you're going to have to give up trying to come inside on Gonzalez. They threw at least 6 pitches in a row off the plate outside or the outside corner, and then they try to come inside to jam him. They obviously think they thought this was a home run, but it's a foul ball.
They faked out the fireworks guy.
Now watch, see, they try to come inside. They've thrown 5 or 6 pitches outside. You just cannot get inside on him unless you have a 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball. And Jimmy Key just does not throw hard enough. And you see this ball hooked fair. As long as you can see it, you know it didn't curve around the pole. We saw it go on this side of the foul pole.
Another 2-2 pitch. Change up low. 3-2.
Well, if he threw it 3-1, he'll throw it 3-2. They said they're not going to give this guy anything to hit, and hit that deep. He made the mistake, got away with it, and now taking him 3-2.
In the air to right, back goes O'Neill, takes a look up, it's gone. It is bordering now on the incredible.
Well, let me explain something, Bob. As a hitter, Gonzalez, he tried to come inside. He hit it foul. Gonzalez knows he's not coming back in there again. He knows that Key is going to go away, and he goes out and gets it. And I mentioned earlier he hit 12 of his 47 home runs to center and to right field during the regular season. He goes out and drives this away. Now watch where his body goes. He's going out there to get this all the way. He knows that they're not going to come back inside after he just hit one foul. That's just great hitting. You're right. That's incredible. But it also shows that he's a smart player.
It'll be a while before Clark can step in. They're still whooping it up. 4 homers in 2 games plus 4 innings in this series. 9 homers in 13 games against New York this year. Swing and a miss by Clark.
That's only the 4th home run that he's hit to right field all year, though, Bob. To right, strictly to right.
But if I wasn't so fond of Reggie, I might say we're looking at maybe a new Mr. October.
Joe, I swear, I thought,
here's Hayes, and he's got Clark.
I thought they'd throw him a 3-2 breaking ball. I really did.
Have to do this bit of business. NBC's coverage of tonight's Division Series game is brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher, because every athlete has the right to be quenched. Life is a sport, drink it up. By Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service. By Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. And by Original Coors, pure and simple, the last real beer. Tied at 1 in the 4th. Dean Palmer 0 for 1. One of the heroes of Game 1 with a home run and the great play robbing Paul O'Neill in the first inning at Yankee Stadium. Then a night later, he left the bases loaded in the top of the 12th and threw the ball away on the bunt attempt in the bottom half as the game ended.
Bob, that home run by Gonzalez also breaks a 12-inning scoring drought for the Texas Rangers.
Well, he might be feeling like the Lone Ranger.
Right.
He has 8 of their 11 RBIs. With the exception of the Palmer home run in Game 1, not too many Rangers other than Gonzalez have done much. But Gonzalez has done plenty. Two and 2.
Al, this is Dean Palmer in Game 1. Here's that bullet hit by O'Neill. With runners at 2nd and 3rd, he made a heck of a play to save a couple of runs there. And then, as Bob said, here's the bunt by Hayes. An easy play. And he threw it past McLemore, and the Yankees win.
2-2 pitch to him. Squibbed foul. A light rain had begun to fall at that point in the extra inning game at Yankee Stadium, and the ball might have been just a little bit slick when he picked it up on the infield grass and threw over to McLemore.
He offered no excuses. He just said, I made a bad throw.
Well,
Easy play.
He threw it sidearm also, Bob, which, as you know, sometimes will make the ball sink. I mean, I still think when you're throwing from the left side of the diamond, you have to get on top or at least 3/4.
Another 2-2 pitch from Key, and he struck him out.
Well, I want to go back,
and Palmer couldn't catch up with it. Go ahead, Joe.
I want to go back to Gonzalez and explain something. Good hitters do not have to look for the ball inside. They just react to the ball inside. So Gonzalez can look out over the plate and go attack the ball. And I mean, I don't see any way that Jimmy Key has of getting Gonzalez out. I mean, you can't pitch him inside. We saw him come inside. He almost hit a home run. We see him go away, which he had done the entire ball game. He singled a center, his other at bat. Now he goes out there and hits this one over the right field wall. But I expected him to do that. That's why you cannot just pitch him outside all day, because he will make the adjustments.
I still thought, and I still think he should have, despite the fact that he hit the home run. He threw him a 3-1 curveball. I don't know why he didn't throw it 3-2. And after talking with Joe Torre before the game, when he explained how they wanted to pitch and what they wanted to do with Gonzalez, it's extremely surprising.
1-0 pitch to Tettleton. A ball and a strike. It isn't just this week either. He came into the series having hit over 500, speaking of Gonzalez, against the Yankees for the year. And he had hit 5 home runs against them in just 10 games. He missed a couple of their games against the Yankees with injuries.
Now, when you see what he's done against the Yankees during the regular season, it's really hard to believe that a guy can be that hot and hit that many home runs and drive in that many runs. But when you've watched him here in the playoffs, it's not hard to understand. Not at all.
And remember, just before the home run to right, he had barely missed one, lining one foul down the left field line that had home run distance. Tino Martinez won't have enough room.
And another scary thought, the ball that he hit foul down the left field line, Bob, would have been a home run in Yankee Stadium. It's 318 down the line in Yankee Stadium, 332 here. The ball had time to curve out. That ball would have been a fair ball in Yankee Stadium. But it doesn't matter. He just comes back and goes the other way. That's amazing right there.
Well,
Full count to Tettleton.
In the series, Bob, I was going to say 6 for 11, 4 home runs. He's knocked in 8, 18 total bases. I mean, what more could you ask from this guy?
The Rangers have 11 runs. He's knocked in 8 of them. The 3-2. In the air, right center field. O'Neill has this one lined up in front of that 377 sign, not quite to the track for the catch. The homer by Gonzalez evens the issue after 4. Game 3 in Arlington. Here's the Hertz game summary, and it's pretty straightforward. Bernie Williams, opposite field home run right down the line in the top of the first. That holds up until the bottom of the 4th, when Juan Gonzalez, after just missing one foul down the left field line, goes deep to right center, his 4th homer of the series. We're tied at 1. This game summary brought to you by Hertz. For business, for pleasure, nobody does it exactly like Hertz. Indeed, he is the man. There are other signs around the ballpark proclaiming him Senor October. And who could argue off what he's done so far? Tino Martinez was at the plate when the top of the 4th ended in bizarre fashion. A pickoff double play. 1-3, 6-3-2. Darren Oliver picked Williams off first. And as Clark and Elster were running him down, Raines broke from third. Clark applied the tag to Williams, then pegged to Rodriguez at the plate. Raines slid around him. Rodriguez missed the tag, but Raines missed the dish, and Rodriguez came back to tag him for the double play. Martinez goes the opposite way, and Greer has it. From Senor October to Mr. October, Jim Gray is with Reggie.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. Well, Reggie, what about Senor October, Juan Gonzalez?
Well, it's fantastic. I think the guys that, you know, Joe and Bob have been talking about his bat ability. I've always thought of Juan Gonzalez with a bat, and I'll let Joe and Bob talk about this, with tremendous bat range. He has tremendous coverage of the plate. Last year I saw Ken Griffey Jr. do it in Seattle against the Yankees, and to be honest with you, I enjoy seeing it.
Does he remind you at all of yourself?
It most certainly does, and every time you talk about it or bring the name up, I'm proud to share it.
You're a special assistant now with the Yankees. How involved are you with the guys, and how much help are you to their batting and to just their day-to-day going through Major League Baseball?
Well, I try to do anything that I'm asked to do, from the general manager to the owner to the managing general partner, all the way down to the minor leagues. I work with some of our rookies and some of the kids that we just signed, and including players like Tim Raines, Cecil Fielder, Darryl Strawberry. Doesn't matter what they ask me, Jimmy. I'm here to help and do what I can do to help the ball club win.
Interested in managing?
No, I don't think so. I'm interested in assisting and having the job I have now. I work in California for a company, and I love it.
All right, Reggie, you're all wired up. Thanks for joining us. Stay with us here through this half inning. Bob and the guys have some questions for you.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. I don't think I've seen many more electric nights in sports than the night Reggie hit 3 in 3 consecutive at-bats on 3 straight pitches in Game 6 of the '77 World Series at Yankee Stadium against the Dodgers. Here's O'Neill bouncing one through the middle. Elster has it, shovels it to McLemore, who pegs it to first. And they turn the double play to put a quick end to the top half of the 5th. Well, we were going to talk to Reggie, but we'd prefer that you watch this commercial. Well, I guess there can be co-billing if Reggie is Mr. October and the Puerto Rican native Gonzalez becomes Senor Octubre. McLemore takes a ball low.
That works. It works here in Texas, I know that.
Last half of the 5th. Series tied at 1, game tied at 1. McLemore, Elster, and Hamilton against Jimmy Key. 2-0.
You were talking about the night that Reggie hit the 3 home runs and how electric it was. The only thing could have been better for me. I was sitting at home watching it. I just wish I would have been at Yankee Stadium in person.
Don't get greedy. You'd won the previous 2 world championships with the Reds, including sweeping the Yankees the year before when they didn't have Reggie. Two and 1 to McLemore. Jeter at short. 1 down in the Ranger 5th. Reggie, watching all the long ball hitting this year, the record numbers of home runs individually and collectively, what's been running through your mind?
That I wish I was playing in the 90s. I think that I think that the ball is juiced, and I do think that the quality of pitching, the talent of pitching is way, way down. Very, very few hard throwers. When I was playing in Joe, Bob Uecker, so many staffs had guys that threw in the mid-90s. And now it's very rare to have a staff with more than that. And when you do have that player that throws in the 90s, he winds up in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm. Like Rivera and Wetland for the Yankees.
Exactly. You look at what they do with setup men and relievers. They took the best pitcher in baseball out of the game yesterday or today that had thrown 15 or 16 strikes in a row, brought in McMichael and Wohlers. Greg Maddux.
Reggie, I've often said that the 80s was the splitter and the forkball. The 90s is the changeup. This is the decade of the changeup. The off-speed pitches, they throw more off-speed pitches now. As you mentioned, they don't have the overpowering fastball. You can't intimidate anyone with a sinker or a changeup.
A lot of that, Joe, has come from the fact that they play with the aluminum bat, and you get jammed with aluminum bats. So rather than trying to throw the ball by a guy inside or learn pitch location, they try to trick you with split fingers and forkballs.
Don't you also think, Reggie, the strike zone is squeezed a little bit?
You know, I don't think that the strike zone is squeezed.
No?
I think that the strike zone is kind of wide, to be honest with you. You look at the pitches that they're calling. In the check swing, if you just move the bat at all, I believe they call more check swings now. But I believe the lively ball, and I also believe in the lesser talent on the pitching mound.
But, Reg, when you look at overall, I mean, pitching staffs and pitching coaches, I mean, guys today, talking about pitching coaches, always take youngsters and teach movement instead of velocity. I mean, if you got velocity, it's great. You can't teach that. But they're always working on movement. They're always trying to pitch on your fists, in on your knuckles all the time with sinkers, as Joe talked about earlier.
Here's the 3-2 to Elster, and he draws a 1-out walk.
Well, a lot of the ball players that we signed, a lot of the pitchers that our minor league staff looks at, It's very rare to get a pitcher that throws the ball over 93, 94 miles an hour. It just doesn't happen. So you look for different things, and it's just not there. The strength in the arms are not there in the young kids. And as they continue to have more teams around baseball, around different cities, it weans down or weakens the talent.
And the last thing, Reg, speaking of strength, a guy like you were always strong, but you bulked up as your career went along. You see guys today, infielders, who are bigger than power-hitting outfielders of a past generation. Runner going and the ball thrown into center field. Popping back up is Elster, and he's at third now with only one out. There seemed to be some confusion as to who should cover you.
Well, it's a perfect throw by Girardi. Perfect throw by Girardi. Right over the bag. But Duncan and Jeter evidently crossed up. Watch this. He had plenty of time to throw, too. He knew he had the runner. Look at this. There's nobody there. Duncan late. Jeter nowhere near there. And there's Bernie Williams picking up the throw. Look at Girardi. Perfect throw. He takes the error on what should have been a caught stealing.
And now the Yankees pull the infield in.
To be honest with you, a smart scorekeeper will go and find out who should have been covering and give the error to him, because that is not a fair error to give to Girardi.
That's the argument for team errors, Joe, right there. I mean, there's no way that Girardi should be charged with an error on that play. See the Yankee bullpen, Jeff Nelson. He made a perfect throw, and they should have cut him down easily.
2-0 pitch with the infield in. There's a called strike. So a one-out walk to Elster on a 3-2 pitch. A stolen base has to be scored that way, plus the error, which allows him to move to third.
My guess would be that Duncan should have been covering the way they're playing the defense around to the left.
Hamilton swings and misses.
We mentioned his last at bat, how far they were playing him toward left field. They were playing him like a right-handed pull hitter, which means the shortstop is over more toward the hole, so the second baseman is closer to second base in that situation.
Hamilton is flied to left and singled. Rodriguez is on deck. A full count with one out. And Elster at third.
Now this is where he had Hamilton the last time. When Darrell came up with a base hit, he fought off a couple of fastballs, and then Key tried something off speed, and he picks up the base hit to left.
Bouncer that Martinez fields, holds the runner, steps on the bag for the second out.
Let's take a look and see where the infielders were playing before. You see Duncan is actually closer to the bag than Jeter is over here, and that's the way it should be, simply because they were playing him at like a right-handed pull hitter. Duncan is just late getting there, but not only that, I mean, he still should have dove to knock the ball down rather than let it go into center field.
So although it was a left-handed hitter at the plate, because they were expecting him to hit the opposite way, it might well have been the second baseman's responsibility to cover.
Well, I believe it was the second baseman's responsibility. Just the way that they're playing the defense, it's his responsibility.
Infielders move back with two down. Here's Rodriguez lined out and singled. And strike one.
Al Rodriguez twice has hit balls the other way. Lined out his first time up, singled to right back in the third. He's staying right on Jimmy Key and trying to go that way. See if they try to get inside on him here.
It bounces away from Girardi, but not far enough to allow Elster to break for home.
Beautiful stop by Girardi on a pitch that hit out in front of home plate. This is about a 57-foot breaking ball, and there you see Girardi. It hit off the chest protector, then off his arm, bounced up along the third baseline, but not far enough for Elster to advance. Nice play by Girardi on a tough pitch to handle.
Joe Torre, his coaching staff, the Yankee pitchers, all offer high praise for the way Girardi has handled this staff this year.
Well, there's not much you can do with a ball like that, Bob. Get your body in front of it and hope.
1-1 pitch. Foul back.
You know, as a catcher, with a breaking ball, you know the ball is going to come up on you. Fastballs normally, when they hit the dirt, they stay down. Those are the scooters that'll go through your leg. Breaking ball, right-hander is going to pop back to your left as a catcher. From a left-hander, it's going to break to the right. To your right as the catcher.
Hit over the bag and by the diving Martinez down the right field line as the Rangers take the lead on a double by Rodriguez.
We talked earlier about Rodriguez hitting everything to right field. Every ball he's hit today has been to right field. But this is just good hitting. This pitch is away. So he just reaches out and grounds it down the first baseline. Martinez really doesn't have a chance because you can't play that close to the line with Rodriguez hitting. Now watch where the pitch is. It's away, but he goes out and slaps it that way. That's good hitting there by Rodriguez. And I tell you what, you get into playoffs like this, you get excited every time you do something good.
Jimmy Key now 96 pitches through 4+ innings.
Greer to the plate and Gonzalez to the on-deck circle.
Joe, remember earlier when we were talking about Jimmy Key and how he works off the outside and he's hittable out there if you make yourself go that way? Rodriguez has done it 3 times tonight and picked up 2 base hits.
And he has had nothing but success, speaking of Rodriguez, against Jimmy Key. .375 lifetime with a couple of homers coming into tonight's game. Lined out hard his first time, singled hard, and then doubles home the tie-breaking run. 2-1. If he doesn't get Greer, do you let him stay in and face Gonzalez, or is he history?
I think this is his last hitter this inning.
I agree
Either
with
he
you.
gets him out or he's out of the ball game. I don't think Joe Torre would risk letting Juan Gonzalez hit against Jimmy Key again.
Here's Key's 100th pitch of the night, and it's rolled toward Martinez. He'll take it himself, but the Rangers score in the bottom of the 5th. They take a 2-1 lead. And Joe Torre anything but pleased by it.
This is Mariano Duncan talking to Wade Boggs about the play. He's saying that he saw him start, but he wasn't sure he was going. That seems to be.
And as we come back live, this ball is hit right on the nose by Charlie Hayes, but it's run down in center by Darrell Hamilton for the first out on the top of the 6th.
It seemed that he was trying to explain that he wasn't sure the runner was going. He said he thought he was bluffing. That's what I made out of that conversation, because he said he started and he stopped. But you know, my point is still, you still have to make a dive for that ball to keep it from going through. If you just let him go to second base, they do not score a run that inning.
You don't want to talk to Joe Torre about it, I know.
No. Or Don Zimmer.
That's right.
Joe Girardi, who's 0 for 1. Well, the Yankees trail 2-1. They've had 2 men picked off. In fact, the second pickoff led to a bizarre double play, which took them out of an inning that had begun with runners at first and third and nobody out. And this run on the RBI double by Rodriguez, even though I guess it has to be scored as an earned run, because technically Elster is credited with a stolen base and he would have been at second even without the throwing error. If somebody covers, he's out stealing.
But it also.
So Torre's got to be disgusted by the run they gave away and the scoring opportunities of their own, which they squandered.
You're exactly right. I mean, the Yankees have not played good baseball to this point in the ball game. They've made too many mistakes that have hurt them.
Not only that, Joe, but when we talked to Torre before the game, he said the Yankee club wasn't hitting anyway. It's bad enough when you're not hitting to compound it with bad base running, runners at first and third with nobody out, back in the 4th, and they don't score.
Well, the Ranger 5th began with a 1-out walk. At least the scoring situation began with a 1-out walk to the number 9 hitter Elster. Here's a 1-out walk to the Yankees number 9 hitter Girardi, which brings up Jeter. Flied out, struck out, takes a strike. Darren Oliver touched for a first inning homer by Bernie Williams. He's tightened up since then with some help from some sloppy Yankee base running. His teammates have given him a slim 2-1 lead as he works here in the 6th. A Gonzalez home run, at least one a game, seems obligatory, and a Rodriguez opposite field RBI double. One on, one out, and a 1-1 pitch coming. Two balls and a strike to the Yankee shortstop. Glancing down at Willie Randolph. He'll manage in the big league someday, don't you think, Joe?
I think he should. He knows the game very well, and he knows how to deal with people. I think if you're Joe Torre, even though you've made some mistakes on the base pass, I still think you have to play your game. This is a perfect hit and run situation here. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Girardi is not going, and Jeter rolls at foul. Girardi runs well for a catcher. He stole 13 bases this year.
Girardi hit second when he played for the Colorado Rockies, so you know that he knows how to run the bases. And like you said, he runs well.
You know, when you look at his lead, though, Joe, he's almost in foul territory. He's not taking any chances here with Darren Oliver. Watch the lead that Oliver gets here. Of course, the situation has changed now. I should say Girardi against Oliver. Situation's changed at 2-2.
But he still does not have a big lead at first base. You're right.
It's about a size 15 shoe.
He's not going, and now the count runs out full.
I still think if you put runners in motion, you force the other teams to make plays. You force them to move their defense around, and you put a little more pressure on them.
He's going on the 3-2 pitch, and it's bounced foul.
The talk of the early season in the American League was about the Yankees and how they were playing National League style baseball with Joe Torre. They were bunting, they were hitting and running, they were doing a lot of things on the bases to put pressure on the other team's defense.
You know, but on the other side, Joe, here you got the best catcher in all of baseball who loves to see you try. He really loves to throw.
Again, a modest lead for Girardi. Again, he goes. And this ball is hit by Elster, who was breaking to cover. It goes off his glove and into left field, and now runners are at first and second with 1 out.
Here's that last ball hit by Jeter. And there you see Elster, that ball right off his glove. Almost made the play. But the Yankees have runners at first and second now. Girardi off and running on the pitch, but had to hold. See if that ball was going to be catchable on the line.
So Jeter with his first hit of the night. And it brings up Raines, who's flied out and walked. Ball 1 to him. Bernie Williams is on deck. And then Cecil Fielder if the inning is prolonged. Two and 0. Darren Oliver, 14-6 for the year, has turned in a good effort here, taking a 2-1 lead into the 6th. He's allowed the Yankees 4 hits. The Rangers have 5.
Dennis Cook is the left-hander. Danny Patterson the right-hander.
In the air to left center field, Rusty Greer over there with Hamilton, and it's Hamilton for the catch. Girardi draws a throw but holds. And as Williams comes up, let's quickly tell you Sunday NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL action at the special time of 12 noon Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Most of you will see the Dolphins hosting the Seahawks. Others will see the Raiders battle the Jets or the Patriots taking on the Ravens. Then in the second half of the doubleheader, most will see Jim Harbaugh and the undefeated Colts against the Buffalo Bills. Others will see the Broncos battle the Chargers or the Saints hosting the Jaguars. Check your local listings for the game in your area. The NFL on NBC Sunday starting at 12 noon Eastern time. Bernie Williams. He's homered and singled tonight.
This will be interesting to see how Rodriguez goes after him this time. They've gone after him with hard stuff mainly. Let's see if he changes and goes off speed this at bat.
A called strike. It'll also be interesting to see whether Jimmy Key comes out to start the bottom half of the sixth, because the scheduled hitter to open the inning is Gonzalez.
You know, looking at both of these guys, they've really pitched well, Bob. Oliver has given up 4. Key has only given up 5 in this game, with Texas leading 2-1. They've both pitched a super game. You know, he's going to up. I was going to say he's going to try to make Williams again pull a ball. He did it in his last AB back in the 4th inning when he singled to left, but he hurt him with an outside fastball in the opening inning when he hit it out of here and right. One pitch. Line softly to short. Elster has it. The Yankees leave 2. And Texas takes a 2-1 lead at the bottom of the 6th, and it looks like Jimmy Key is heading for the clubhouse. Jimmy Key is out. Jeff Nelson is in. First man he'll face is Juan Gonzalez. Here's what Gonzalez did to Key back in the 4th. After lining one foul with home run distance down the left field line, he went to right center for his 4th home run in this, the 3rd game of this series. He had 47 during the regular season. Johnny Oates touting him as an MVP candidate. You can make a heck of a case for him, but then too there's Alex Rodriguez and Albert Bell and maybe Mo Vaughn and others. Although I think with the expanded playoffs now, if you have 4 teams making the playoffs, it becomes harder and harder to make a case for a player on a team that does not make it to postseason, even though Rodriguez had a mind-boggling season in Seattle.
I agree with you, Bob, because you know, you have to go with the winners. I think with all these divisions now, winners and the playoff teams, you're right.
Most valuable player always has meant something different than player of the year, even though the exact definition is nebulous. The 1-0 pitch.
And I agree, because I don't think there's anyone more valuable to their team in the National League even than Barry Bonds was to the San Francisco Giants, but they almost lost 100 ball games. He can't be the MVP.
It always comes down to the same factor every year. The guy on a club that wins, if he's had a big-time year, he's in.
Well, look at Mark McGwire's slugging percentage, on-base percentage, and home runs per time at bat. All of his figures are Ruthian in dimension, but his team was not in the race.
How about the kid up in Seattle?
Gonzalez pops it up, and it looks as if they have retired him, which is cause for celebration in the Yankee dugout. One good thing from the Yankee perspective, all 3 of Gonzalez's at-bats have been leading off the inning. The 1st, the 4th, and now the 6th, so he has never had a chance to hit with men on base.
Al, here's the last pitch from Nelson. That's a breaking ball around the outside corner, and Gonzalez pops it up. You know, when he hit the home run, it was one of the better pitches that Jimmy Key made on him all night long, and he hit it out of here and right. I misspoke a moment ago. Obviously, Gonzalez led off the 2nd, the 4th, and the 6th. Be quite a story if Johnny Oates made him his leadoff man. I'll tell you what, it'd get you a run in a hurry, wouldn't it? 47 times. It's told us an interesting story the other day. He has Gonzalez in right field this year. He had played left primarily in the past, and part of Oates' thinking was that he wanted Gonzalez to interact with the fans who are closer to the right fielder than the left fielder here.
And Oates was thinking back to the 1984 Cubs. He was a coach under Jim Fry for that team. And Gary Matthews used to go out to left field before every inning and stir the crowd up. They'd all stand and wait until Gary Matthews, who was known as the Sarge, gave them that salute before they'd sit down. And Oates was thinking, I want Juan Gonzalez to go out there after hitting a home run or delivering a big RBI hit, and I want him to feel the excitement and feel the support from the fans here, and that was part of the reason why he wanted him in right field. Will Clark takes a seat, called out on strikes. Nelson retires the first two in the bottom of the sixth. He also thought that it would be important, at least to some extent, to Gonzalez to play right field because, hailing from Puerto Rico, Gonzalez's idol has always been Roberto Clemente.
And plus, he has the best arm of all the outfielders, you know, on the Texas Rangers. And to that extreme, they did give him a standing ovation after he hit the home run and went out there that inning. So I think Johnny Oates' theory is working. The difference is that Gonzalez does not quite have the out personality like Gary Matthews does at this time in his career.
And a strike to Dean Palmer.
You know, the thing that was interesting the other day, too, Joe, was the fact that Gonzalez talked about how much he enjoyed the fans in right field in Yankee Stadium, with the exception of a few that were throwing things out there. But he's got to the park early, walked around the Bronx, walked around the stadium, had a good time, and enjoyed himself.
Duncan to his left from the outfield grass, and Nelson comes in and works a very tidy sixth. After 6 in Texas, the Rangers lead it 2-1. This was the scene in the 5th inning after he homered in the bottom of the 4th, and all those fans greeting Juan Gonzalez as he takes his position in right field. Cecil Fielder starts it in the 7th against Darren Oliver. Although it's only 1 inning from Jeff Nelson, it continues the pattern. The Yankee bullpen has now worked 9 1/3 scoreless innings in this series. And Fielder lifts left, which Greer has lined up.
And you have to be impressed with what Oliver's doing. That pitch right there is a great example. He threw the fastball in, and it's got just enough movement on it that Fielder can't get the barrel out front, and he gets under it for a little fly ball. And the last inning, he got Bernie Williams out with the same pitch. He jammed him. See, that looks like it might be even a little cutter, but he gets in on Cecil Fielder, and he can't do anything with it.
Tino Martinez 0 for 2. The Rangers have the obvious advantage in power. The Yankees have the clear advantage in terms of the quality of their bullpen. In Game 1, they couldn't get into the Ranger bullpen. Burkett went all the way. And they couldn't get the lead except 1-0 early to get their own bullpen in there to protect it as Cone was hit hard. McLemore throws Martinez out. Then in Game 2, in desperation, Joe Torre had to go to Mariano Rivera and John Wetland when he was behind just to try to keep the game close and give them a chance to catch up, which they did. And when they got into the Ranger bullpen, they were able to make some hay.
Well, he's getting into that Mariano Rivera area again. But you know, the one thing, and Joe touched on it just a moment ago, this guy is doing most of his good work with a fastball. He challenged Cecil Fielder his last time up, threw 2 fastballs by him, and then got him looking at a called strike on a curveball. And here this time, bang, fastball, and really jammed him.
Now Darren Oliver, go ahead.
Be interesting to see how hard this guy is throwing at this time in the game, Bob. If he's still in that 90+ range or not. It looks like he is.
Oh, he threw him the off-speed pitch that time,
ball.
so no way to tell on the breaking ball. 1-2 as he fouls it into the dugout. And now many of the fans come to their feet in anticipation of the strikeout. Oliver's fanned only 2, but he's been very effective. He has never retired Duncan. Duncan has been to the plate against him 5 times in his career, including twice tonight. 4 hits and hit by a pitch. Right field, Gonzalez toward the line, and it fades foul. Mariano Duncan is a high-spirited guy. One of the guys who keeps everybody loose in the Yankee clubhouse. His saying has become their slogan for the year. In fact, they had it printed up on T-shirts. We play today, we win today, that's it, says Duncan. Over the bag and fair, long throw for Palmer. He bounces it to Clark, but it comes up nicely for him. Duncan's gone, and so are the Yankees in the 7th. Stretch time in Arlington, 2-1 Rangers. Bottom half of the 7th. Tettleton, McLemore, and Elster, the bottom of the order for Texas. Leading 2-1. And a strike from Jeff Nelson. 2-5-1 for the Rangers. They've left 4. 1-4-1 for the Yankees. They've left 2.
There you see what Mickey Tettleton has done. He's had a tough playoff thus far. Nothing for 8. Backdoor breaking ball that time. Nothing in 2.
Let's take a look at this ground ball. Now, this is a fair ball. Watch. It goes right over the corner of the bag, even though you see Palmer fielded in foul territory. It just caught the left corner of the bag. Great call there by Ted Hendry, the third base umpire.
How about that throw by Palmer? That looked like an AstroTurf throw, didn't it, Joe?
Yeah, he forgot where he was, didn't he?
That tells you a little bit about this infield here in Texas. Grass is very short, quick infield. The ball got there in plenty of time. Nothing wrong with it.
Tettleton fans for the 6th time in this series, and he's still hitless through the first 3 games. Sunday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. You want to check out 2 all-new must-see comedies. First, Third Rock from the Sun with Emmy winner John Lithgow. Plus, we have the all-new Boston Common starring Anthony Clark. Third Rock from the Sun and Boston Common Sunday after Dateline on NBC. McLemore 0 for 2 on his birthday. Hayes in close at third and a called strike. One and one. Graham Lloyd, the left-hander, gets up. David Weathers, number 52, is the right-hander.
Interesting tonight, Bob, when we were talking to Joe Torre about Graham Lloyd and about his move the other day, bringing Lloyd into a ballgame. He said, I didn't hesitate for a moment, and I wouldn't do it tonight. I'll do the same thing. He's ready to pitch now. They feel he's sound and healthy.
Nelson, like a majority of relievers these days, works from the stretch regardless of the situation.
Yeah, they all do. Every one of them now, and it's sometimes, I mean, they talk about the games and the time of game and everything else. These guys that take their sign from the stretch, whether it's somebody's on or not, it's been that way for a long, long time. That's one of the things they're talking about. Does that extend the ball game or not? If it works for you, why not? This guy's a hard thrower. Got a good breaking ball, tough on right-handers with that big sweeping sidearm curve.
Right field coming on. O'Neill for the catch. So Nelson has retired 5 straight hitters. The Yankee bullpen continues to do excellent work.
Now they talk about playing hitters against certain pitchers. It's amazing sometimes how hard balls are hitting. They're right at a guy, or an outfielder makes a step or 2 in, or one to his left, one to his right to make a catch. The charts that they have on hitters, every one of them. You make the right pitches, Joe. Normally you're going to get the guy. You got a chance anyway.
Elster popped out and walked. Takes a ball, and the Yankee 8th, the scheduled hitters, are Paul O'Neill, Charlie Hayes, and Joe Girardi. Joe Torre has some real options on his bench from both the right and left side. If the Rangers should switch to a righty, he's got Strawberry and Boggs. If they stick with Oliver or go to another lefty, he's got Leyritz, Ruben Rivera, who's a good young hitter, And Luis Sojo's 6 for 12 lifetime against Oliver. 2-1.
Talked about Jeff Nelson being a hard thrower. That last fastball, 92.
Count even at 2-2.
That big sidearm curveball that has a tendency to make a hitter give a little bit on. That's what you see as a hitter right there. Sidewind and breaking ball around the outside corner about knee high.
Misses, counts full.
That was a bailer for me every time. Every time. I've spiked guys in the on-deck circle on those kind of breaking balls.
And Elster draws another walk. Second time he's trotted down to first tonight.
Surprised me a little bit. Nobody on here and 2 outs. And a 3-2 breaking ball to Elster with Hamilton coming up. Here it is again. Off the outside corner, big sweeping curveball. He puts him on.
Joe Torre told us with complete certainty before the game, even if the Yankees lose tonight and go down 2-1 and find themselves a defeat away from the end of their season, he is still going with Kenny Rogers, the former Ranger, 12-8 for the year. Bobby Witt is the certain starter for Johnny Oates Rangers. He was 16-12. Hamilton fouls it off. Rogers 16-6 lifetime in this park.
How about the reception that he got upon his introduction tonight? Not too friendly here.
Well, they used some of his statements he made when he left here last year as motivation
right.
in spring training. You know, he said this franchise was not a winner. They'd never won anything, and he wanted to go pitch for a winner. I don't think he meant it. He was trying to be vindictive. He was, in his mind, stating a fact. That's why he was leaving.
Back to Nelson. And he works another effective inning. 6 outs left for the Yankees. They trail by 1. Game 3 at Arlington. Here that this is a bye week for the Cowboys. They won on Monday against the Eagles to take their record to 2-3. So at least for the time being, the sports focus in this town is on baseball for once. And Johnny Oates talked about that with us earlier tonight.
I've tried to let everybody know that Metroplex area is plenty big for all of us. It seems sometimes they're trying to play us against the Cowboys or the Cowboys against us. This is their off year. This is our time to shine. But there are a lot of good sports fans in the Metroplex area. And I think they're just learning what it's like to have a baseball team to pull for in October. It's the first time it's ever happened, and they're really excited about it.
Well, here's some evidence. First time in 25 years they're in the playoffs. Earlier today, folks camping out. World Series tickets go on sale tomorrow here. Oliver working to O'Neill, and ahead of him 0-2. You can't help but marvel at what Juan Gonzalez has done. He's the story of the series. But Darren Oliver, the #3 starter, has held the Yankees at bay since an opposite field homer in the first by Bernie Williams. Did O'Neill check his swing? Apparently he did. 1-2. And he has kept the bullpen out there beyond the outfield wall. Which is not to say that the bullpen for the Rangers is totally ineffective, but it just doesn't compare to the Yankees. Called third strike.
That is a knee buckler right there. That is a hard breaking ball. He threw him a mediocre speed breaking ball the pitch before, and this one is hard. He doesn't start this one away from him. He starts this one at him. Watch where this pitch starts. Starts right at O'Neill. Look at him bend his knees. That buckles your knees. No chance. Beautiful pitch there.
He's allowed the Yankees only 4 hits tonight. Paul O'Neill now 1 for 12 in the series.
Charlie Hayes hit the ball hard his last time up, but lined out to Hamilton in center. Benching Boggs, even against a left-hander, would have been unthinkable in years past, and this one is lofted to left. Greer started in, now drifts back, edge of the track, 2 out in the 8th. This year, though, Joe, Boggs hit just .268 against left-handed pitching.
Well, not only that, Charlie Hayes has some power, as we just saw there. He just missed hitting that ball out of the ballpark. And the Yankees' lack of power is another reason that they start him against certain left-handed pitchers. Darren Oliver hasn't been in the big leagues long enough to get a real good reading on him, but I tell you what, just from watching him tonight, he can see the goal line. He knows where it is.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like he's better right now than he has been the entire ball game. He's throwing the ball better. His control seems to be better. I think he seems to be in complete control of what he's doing out there.
This is surprising, Joe. Only 89 pitches for Oliver in this game. I think he's only shaken Rodriguez off one time tonight. They've been right on.
Girardi bounces one toward McLemore. Park stays on the bag. A 1-2-3-8. Still 2-1 Texas, trying to take a 2-1 lead in the series. Has had an adventurous night at first base. He manages to stay on the bag here on the throw by McLemore to retire Girardi.
He's on it. Very close play and a good call. Jim Welke. There you see the grab, and he's on it. Good play by Clark. Yep. Will the thrill?
Jeff Nelson, you hear me? Third inning of work. Rodriguez, Greer, and that man Gonzalez. Against Key, Rodriguez was 2 for 3, including an RBI double. It's that double in the 5th that stands as the difference. It snapped the 1-1 tie.
Dave Rodriguez changes his style a little bit here against the hard-throwing Jeff Nelson. Against Jimmy Key, he was strictly trying to go to right and did. Now he's got Nelson, the right-hander, with a big breaking ball. They're playing him straight away.
Nelson trying to keep it tidy and give the Yankees a shot at the top of the 9th when they'll send up the top of their order. Jeter, Raines, and Bernie Williams. Bounce to Martinez, unassisted, 1 out. Earlier today at Jacobs Field, Cleveland stays alive. They need to win 2 more at home to come back from an 0-2 deficit. They beat Baltimore 9-4 despite another B.J. Surhoff home run. Albert Bell broke it open in the 7th with a grand slam. Orioles up 2-1. Tomorrow's lineup, be alert here. ESPN for Yanks Texas at 1 Eastern, noon Central. ESPN 2 for Orioles and Indians. Dodgers and Braves on Fox at 4 Eastern. Cardinals and Padres 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern on NBC. Rusty Greer robbed of a homer on a drive to dead center in the 1st inning. Fabulous leaping catch by Bernie Williams, and then grounded out twice. Just 1 for 11 in the series. Hit .332 for the year, 5th best in the league. And the ball hits the bag, bounces away. Nelson picks it up, but can't beat Greer to the bag. It would have been an easy play for Martinez. Then it caromed off the bag. Nelson, going over just in case he had to cover, was there to pick it up. But Greer got there first, according to Tim Welke.
Well, he makes a nice play on the ball, but let's take another look at it. This would have been a routine play, but it hits the corner of the bag and bounces away. You see Martinez makes his break. He was going to be able to make the play. It bounces away from him and back towards home plate. Now watch Nelson. He picks the ball up. And they say a tie goes to the runner, but it's a very close play at first base. Now watch when the ball hits, it doesn't go forward. It goes back towards home plate. And smart play here by Jeff Nelson. He's on the move. He just comes up, picks it up, keeps running. And again, it's just a close play.
Wow, impossible to tell from the first 2 angles. Let's see if this is any more revealing. Wow. You can't say he got it wrong. Let's put it that way.
That's exactly right. And that tells you how good these umpires really are, because we're watching it 3 or 4 times in slow motion, and we cannot determine whether he was safe or out, and the umpire had to make the decision. Look at the tie right there.
You're right, Joe.
But we get a 5 or 6 looks at it, and the umpire had to make the call on the spot.
You know, that ball looked like it almost hit behind home plate.
And how important is it? It means that Gonzalez bats with a man at first and 1 out. If he bats with 2 out and the base is empty, they just pitch around him. In the air to center. Williams going back. It's going to stay in the park. Tagging is Greer. He sprints for second and dives in safely on a heads-up base running play. That's a play that you don't see often enough.
You're exactly right. A lot of runners just go halfway on the play. Greer knew that Bernie Williams was going to catch it, but he would be backing away from the infield. So he goes back right there to tag up. Smart play. And he goes in head first, just ahead of the throw from Bernie Williams. And he gets himself into scoring position. And how big would that insurance run be here in the bottom of the 8th inning?
Well, now first base is open. Left-handed hitter Clark at the plate. Right-handed hitter Palmer next. And let's see if they walk him. And they will.
Well, Joe Torre is showing that he does have respect for Will Clark. Although Will has not been swinging the bat well. But that was against left-hander Jimmy Key. He figures he has a better chance against Nelson, so he'd rather face Palmer than Will Clark in this situation.
The little things that happen in a ball game. Each team has a home run. But Texas has been able to turn 3 double plays. They've had a couple of pickoffs. So Oliver has faced only 27 batters through 8. The go-ahead run scored after a walk to the number 9 hitter Elster and a ball thrown away on a stolen base attempt, which set the stage for Rodriguez to slice a double over the first base bag. And now if they get an insurance run here, it's because of a crazy carom off the bag, and maybe because of a heads-up play by Greer in tagging up going from first to second. That's Juan Gonzalez after flying out, not showing any disappointment in being held hitless. A rare at-bat with that result for him. Instead, trying to pick his teammates up.
Well, he is a team leader, and he's saying right there, hey, we need 1 more run.
Palmer's 0 for 3. Nelson can be so nasty on a right-handed hitter when he drops down like that.
Well, he has you bailing from time to time. I mean, he can get inside on you with the hard stuff and then throw you that big sidearm curveball and make you give.
2-0 to Palmer. Tettleton, the switch hitter, on deck. Greer at second, Clark at first. Bottom half of the 8th. 2-1 Texas. The winner takes a 2-1 lead in the series. Game 4 tomorrow afternoon. Bobby Witt, the right-hander for Texas. Kenny Rogers, the former Ranger, the left-hander for the Yankees. In there.
Here it is again. That's what we're talking about right there. That nasty sidearm. That's his fastball. Saw that little spin on that ball to make it come back into a right-handed batter.
Popped up. Let's see if it's playable. Girardi off with the mask, but it's a few rows in.
You know, the other thing, too, Joe, tonight, looking at Tim Cheaty, he's called a heck of a ball game.
Yes.
He really has. He's done a heck of a job behind the plate.
Well, I think all the umpires have done a great job on the foul balls down the line, the close plays at first base. This has been a well-umpired ball game.
Play at the plate when Rodriguez blocked Raines out of there. Cheetah was right on it. Yeah, he's done a good job. He really has.
Jeff Nelson trying to do, by himself in this case, what the Yankee bullpen did in Game 2. Keep it close. Give his team a chance to come back from a deficit. In this case, it's only 1 run. But the way Oliver has been throwing, it looks big. Two on, 2 out, the 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. So Nelson escapes. Top of the order in the top of the 9th. Rangers up by 1.
measure it one investor at a time.
To the top of the ninth. Derek Jeter to start it, followed by Tim Raines and Bernie Williams. Against Darren Oliver, trying to go all the way, working now on a 4-hitter. 2-0 the count. Oliver will be 26 on Sunday. Missed a good portion of last year with rotator cuff surgery. Had primarily been a reliever, only 7 career starts prior to this year. Goes 14-6 and establishes himself as their number 3 starter. And everybody around the ball club told us this kid is a cool customer. He will not be shaken by the atmosphere of the playoffs. Nothing that's happened tonight disproves that.
Take a look at him here. Walk in the park.
Son of former big leaguer Bob Oliver. This is hit toward the hole, and Elster can't get it. So Jeter, with just the Yankees' 5th hit, is aboard to lead off the 9th. He stole 14 bases this year.
Well, he came out this inning, Bob, a little different than the last couple. He threw a couple of breaking balls, and he got behind in the count, and then he had to give the fastball to Jeter, and he grounds it in the hole for a base hit. And there you see Jeter. He knows how important it is to get the leadoff hitter on when you're down a run in the 9th.
Palmer inching in at 3rd. Range shows bunt, takes a strike.
I tell you, this guy is still throwing well, and again, piece of cake here for him. Gave up the base hit. Here's the pitch on Raines, and a good fastball for a strike.
Raines did not square around to bunt. He was going to bunt and try to beat it out for a base hit.
0 for 2 with a walk tonight. And he bunts it foul. 0-2, just got a little piece of it. And now you would think the option of the bunt has been removed.
Now, if this was going to be a sacrifice attempt, Joe, this wasn't a good one. He's kind of moving on that pitch.
Well, he's
Wait
not,
a minute.
He's not sacrificing.
It didn't look like he even bunted that ball.
You know what? It didn't look. Now someone has run out onto the field, and that's going to hold the game up. Let's take a look at that again. It did not look as if the bat made any kind of contact with the ball.
It was a breaking ball, low and inside. Here it is again. Now watch Raines square up, as if to kind of push this ball or drag it. Watch this. It didn't look like he bunted that ball. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. But it looked like he was moving on the pitch, Joe.
At first, the angle was deceiving, but I guess had he not bunted it, there would have been an argument from Raines, and in fact, he did. You can see here right off the end of the bat.
Well, again, he's trying to bunt for a base hit. He wasn't sacrificing. He wasn't squaring around to sacrifice. I saw a game earlier this year with the Yankees where they got a runner on in this similar situation. Raines bunted for a base hit. Boggs was the next hitter. He bunted him over in the scoring position, and the next guy got a base hit, Bernie Williams. So that's what they were trying to do here, just bunt him over.
0-2 to Raines. Williams on deck. Jeter away from first. A ball and 2 strikes. They have the veteran relievers up. The right-hander Mike Henneman, the left-hander Mike Stanton. But for the moment, at least, it's still Oliver's game.
I tell you what, he definitely is in control of his emotions out there. To be able to turn and throw to first base like that, he did that earlier in the ballgame and picked a runner off that's turned into a double play. But he doesn't forget about the runner at first base. A lot of pitchers in this situation just worry about the hitter.
Jeter has a modest lead, and now it's 2-2. We're in the 9th. Leadoff man aboard for New York. Not going, foul back. It's going to be a quick turnaround for both these teams. But the team that loses it to go down 2-1 will have a little more difficulty dragging themselves out of bed for a noon start tomorrow. Oliver peering in for his sign from Rodriguez. And here it comes to Raines. Full count. He was ahead of him 0-2, and now it's full.
He didn't miss very much with his breaking ball, just off the inside corner. Here it is again, curveball, and just missed the inside. Don't be fooled by Rain's reaction. That ball was a lot closer than it looked to the inside corner.
Hit hard, but foul.
And they did not have Jeter running there.
Willie Randolph with the signals. Jeter, the almost certain American League Rookie of the Year, opened the ninth with a single.
It's one of the few times that he's shaken Rodriguez off tonight.
Again, not going. Hit hard, and Elster can't get it with his dive. Jeter is around second. Jeter is on his way to third. Hamilton's throw is into second, and the Yankees have runners at the corners with nobody out.
Well, the Yankees have shown what they're made of right here, Bob. I mean, Jeter leads off with a base hit, and so does Tim Raines, and Jeter does not hesitate rounding second base. He just heads right on around to third base.
Oates came out and signaled for the right-hander, which would be Henneman. Williams, the next hitter, is a switch hitter.
Well, you'd rather have Williams hitting from the left side because that's his weaker side, if you want to put it that way. But you'd rather have him hitting from that side.
A standing ovation for Oliver, who leaves amid great appreciation, but also amid uncertainty. Can the bullpen save it for him? We'll be back. Darren Oliver has done his part. Now he'll watch with everybody else as Mike Henneman comes in. Henneman had 31 saves, but his record was 0-7. And his ERA was over 5. He converted 31 of 37 regular season save opportunities. He's 34 years old, out of St. Charles, Missouri. Tiger closer in the late 80s and early 90s, as you might recall. Bernie Williams, 2 for 3, a homer and a single, and lifts this one to right. Gonzalez has to drift back, and this is going to tie the game. Jeter tags. Gonzalez's throw is to second, and it's tied at 2 in the ninth.
Good job by Bernie Williams to walk up there and get that sacrifice fly on the first pitch.
Well, Darren Oliver cannot win, and there's still a possibility, cruel and unfair as it might be, that he could lose. Raines, the runner at first, is his responsibility. Fielder. First pitch swinging. Palmer charging. Throws on the run. Bounces it again to Clark. But again, Will picks it up. Raines in scoring position with 2 out.
Again, the charge by Palmer. This is a relatively easy play. Comes up with the ball. And again, tough chance, but Clark handled it easily. Here it is. Little bouncer hit by Cecil Fielder. Palmer makes the grab easily. And then on the run with the sidearm throw, Joe, as we saw on a couple of other occasions. Game 2, namely, where he came up with that sidearm throw on the bunt and threw it away. Nice play by Clark. Here it is one more time. That's from Game 2. The throw, and McLemore can't handle it, and Jeter scored.
Meanwhile, back live, Tino Martinez is the hitter, but with first base open, they're going to put him on and take their chances against the right-handed hitter, Mariano Duncan. Martinez hit .292 for the year, but with 117 RBIs. Duncan, on the other hand, a lifetime .262 hitter, hit .340 for the season.
The whole story here in the 9th inning, though, Joe, is the difference in the two bullpens.
Right.
I mean, if Johnny Oates has the guy to go to, if he's got that guy, the John Wetland type or a Mariano Rivera in that Texas bullpen, you can bet that Darren Oliver wouldn't have been pitching in the 9th.
Well, at the worst, he would have taken him out after one hitter. You know, but I think you're right. He would have probably started the inning with a John Wetland if you had one.
No question about it. And that's really been the thread running through the whole series.
Right.
He was hoping that Oliver could do for him what Burkett did in game 1. But Burkett, although he pitched very, very well, Burkett had more of a margin for error. It was 6-2 going to the 9th. Here it was 2-1.
First pitch swinger right here.
And on that first pitch, he laces it into center. The Yankees have the lead. Here comes Raines. Martinez to third. The strategy does not work for the Rangers. And Duncan gives the Yankees a 3-2 edge in the 9th.
First of all, you got to know that Mariano Duncan will swing at anything on the first pitch. He's a first pitch fastball hitter, and that's what he gets on the first pitch here. And he lines it into center field for a base hit. First pitch fastball, base hit to center field. Here it is again. I mean, Mariano Duncan, he walks up there, first pitch he sees, he's going to swing at it. And you give him a fastball where he can handle it, he's going to drive it someplace. And he did hit .340 this year.
Exit Henneman, enters Stanton, and we'll step aside for a moment. Since we've had the camera on Henneman and Oliver, not a word or a glance has been exchanged. The veteran could not hold it for the young left-hander. Not only is the lead gone, but Oliver now stands to be the loser. Ruben Rivera comes on with Stanton, the left-hander, in the game. Rivera will bat for O'Neill. O'Neill just 1 for 12 in the series. So the rookie Ruben Rivera gets the call. This is not a knock on Johnny Oates. He has done a great job as a manager, but sometimes the dice just turn cold, and sometimes it's dictated by your personnel. Right. He doesn't have a John Wetland or a Mariano Rivera, so he lets Oliver start the inning, gives up a couple of hits. Then when he goes to Henneman, Henneman can't get the job done. And a move that Joe Torre could have made and didn't worked out well for him. He decided he would not go to a guy like Wade Boggs, who could have pinch hit for Duncan against a right-handed pitcher. He could have gone to Wade Boggs. He had Darryl Strawberry, but Boggs might have been the more logical choice. Instead, he stayed with Duncan, and Duncan on the first pitch delivers the go-ahead hit. Sometimes what you decide not to do, as important as the move you make. 2-1.
I was going to say, Joe, in the case of Mariano Duncan, he's a hacker and slasher. Right. He really is. He goes up there, as you said, he's a first ball hitter. If it's close, anything around, he's swinging and going.
But I think what Bob is pointing out is that sometimes you get managed into a corner. You get boxed in, and there's no way out. And I think that's what happened to Johnny Oates.
Well, it's been that way all year for him. I mean, what he's done with this ball club has been a masterful job. He's got a big hitting ball club, a bullpen that's been shaky from time to time, and a starting staff that's been all, fairly decent.
Tettleton, McLemore, and Elster are due in the bottom of the 9th, the bottom of their order. Stanton trying to keep it to a single run. First and third, 2 out. And a full count now to Rivera. Rivera played a big role down the stretch for the Yankees. Game-saving circus catch in Detroit. Game-winning RBI single in the big series at home at Yankee Stadium against the Orioles. Martinez at third. Duncan, one of tonight's heroes, at first. And a check swing foul. Duncan has to come back. Jeter and Raines singled to open the inning. With runners at first and third, Oliver was removed. Henneman came in. Bernie Williams immediately delivered a sacrifice fly to right. After Fielder bounced out, with Raines moving up to second, for the second out. Martinez was walked intentionally, but that move backfired when Duncan singled to center, and the Yankees took a 3-2 lead. Called strike 3. Stanton keeps it a one-run game. Last licks now for the Rangers. John Wetland, 43 saves for the year. As you see, in roughly the first half, he was susceptible to the long ball, but not in the last 27 games. He's in to try to finish it with no margin for error, just a one-run lead. Ruben Rivera, who batted for O'Neill, stays in the game in right field. And Mariano Duncan, who delivered the go-ahead hit, is now out, replaced by the better defensive second baseman, the former Mariner Luis Sojo. Sojo was the Mariners' shortstop as a regular in the playoffs last year, but you knew it was only temporary until Alex Rodriguez was ready, and was Rodriguez ever ready? The Yankees have the best record in the major leagues in one-run games, largely because of that bullpen. They came from behind to win 5-4 and 12 in Game 2. They may have come from behind with 2 in the 9th here to win this one 3-2. But a last turn at bat for the Rangers. Wetland to Tettleton. Ball one high.
Well, if there's anybody that Tettleton matches up well against, I think it is Wetland, because Tettleton can handle the low fastball, and he will see some fastballs here from Wetland.
Tettleton, as you see, hitless in the game and the series. 2-0.
And you can see he lays off that high fastball. He's a good low fastball hitter.
Back in the 7th, Nelson struck him out on a high fastball, got a hit with breaking stuff, then went upstairs and he chased it.
McLemore on deck. In there. In contrast to the Yankees, the Rangers do not have an especially deep bench. He was able to hold up. 3-1.
Mickey Tettleton on that 2-1 offering. Said he checked his swing.
Well, you know,
didn't look like it to me.
That's the kind they usually ring you up on. Now maybe he can sit on one. The 3-1 pitch had a rip. 3-2.
You know, but Girardi didn't ask for any help on it. If Girardi asked Cheetah, maybe, hey, check with Tim Welke, you might get the call, or check with the third base umpire, you might get the call. But he didn't. And it did look like he had a halfway decent cut.
In contrast to the Yankees, who brought Rivera off the bench and had Strawberry and Boggs available, Johnny Oates has only Warren Newson from the left side and Kurt Stillwell as a switch hitter to use in this situation. Tettleton has a walk. He also has 3 right-handed bats. Damon Buford, the reserve catcher Dave Valley, and the veteran utility man Rene Gonzalez.
Buford coming on as a pinch runner here for Tettleton.
And if the game is prolonged, Buford can just occupy the DH spot, and Oates can decide what move he wants to make when it comes around again. Hayes all the way in at third, expecting the bunt. McLemore squares, pulls back, and takes ball 1.
Well, Buford runs well at first base. I don't anticipate a steal in this situation, but Wetland is easy to get a good jump off of. He has the high leg kick, and you can read him pretty easily, but in this situation, you definitely do not want the tying run to be thrown out trying to steal. If you have enough confidence, you let him go, though.
He stays put. McLemore bunts, deadens it well. Hayes barehands it, takes the play at first, with Sojo, the second baseman, covering. And Buford moves up to scoring position with 1 out.
Like Wayne Newsom is coming out to pinch hit.
Newson will be the pinch hitter.
Now Texas still alive here in the 9th inning with the tying run out at second. Big meeting out at the mound. Wetland, Tino Martinez, Jeter, Girardi.
Well, this is more of a defensive meeting, of course, so they can decide how they're going to play Newsom.
For the year, Newsom hit .255 with 10 homers and 31 RBIs and 235 at-bats.
He's got a little pop, Bob, but looking at Wetland here, if you're going to get him, you better get out in front in a hurry if you're going to pull him.
Darrell Hamilton, the leadoff man, is on deck. One out in the 9th. A single could tie it. Ball one.
Another nice play by Joe Girardi on a breaking ball from Wetland in the dirt. But a nice job on this ball. Here it is again. About a 59-foot breaker, and Girardi getting his body in front of it to knock it down. That's twice tonight that he's saved a wild pitch in a big situation.
Well, they've decided they want to throw a lot of splitters to Newsom rather than go after him with a fastball. Two splitters, one in the dirt and one low.
He's been behind all three hitters he's faced here in the inning, Joe.
The 2-0 pitch is a called strike. In the outfield, Raines has a relatively weak arm. Bernie Williams average, maybe slightly better, no more than that. Rivera in right field strong. The 2-1 pitch. Bounced over the head of Wetland. He retreats to grab it, whirls and throws and got him.
Great play. I mean, that is a great play under pressure. He knows if he doesn't get him, you got runners at first and third now with one down. I mean, he backs off the mound, and there's nothing tougher than going backwards on the mound because you're going down a slope. Ball is hit right on top of the plate, high bounce. Now watch him. He's going up and then back downhill. He's still able to keep his concentration and his focus. Comes, turns, fires, and gets him. This is where that 99-mile-an-hour fastball comes in handy because an average pitcher couldn't make this throw and get him out. Look at this. He runs up the hill, then down the hill. That's what makes it so difficult. And then he just turns it loose. Good stretch there by Tino Martinez. And now he's only one out away. Just a good play there by Wetland.
Now it's up to Hamilton. A single in 4 trips. And Girardi, who has blocked more than his share of potential wild pitches tonight, becomes a key man here. Although Wetland doesn't throw many in the dirt. On the outside corner for a strike.
Even go back to that pitch that he blocked just a moment ago, Bob, which would have put a runner at third, and that big bouncer hit by Newsom and runs in.
You have to have confidence in your catcher at this stage, though, Bob, and be able to still feel like you can throw that splitter.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hamilton late with the swing, and now the Rangers are down to their last strike. Buford the tying run at third with 2 out on the bottom of the 9th. Wetland has thrown 1 wild pitch this year. Here it is on 0-2. Hamilton lays off.
I think if you're Wetland in this situation, you just throw him your best fastball.
That's it.
Hamilton, not a good fastball hitter, good hard fastballs anyway. You can throw the ball by him. He's a little late. Why risk bouncing that splitter?
Ivan Rodriguez is on deck.
Yeah.
Struck him out. The difference in the game in this 9th inning, and now in 2 out of the 3 games in the series, is very simply the bullpens.
I don't think there's any doubt that the Yankees, when they go down the stretch in a tie ball game or a close ball game, they have the advantage because of Rivera and Wetland and the rest of their bullpen. You have to give Jeff Nelson a big pat on the back for what he did tonight as well.
Jeff Nelson worked 3 big innings to keep it close and set the stage for a 2-run Yankee rally in the 9th.
Well, the Yankee bullpen now, Bob, 12 1/3 innings of scoreless pitching. Heck of a job here again tonight.
And you really have to feel for Darren Oliver, because if they had a stronger bullpen, he wouldn't have had to work the 9th inning.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he pitched a great game and ends up the loser.
Tonight's Chevrolet player of the game is Bernie Williams. He had the home run. He had the home run saving catch, robbing Rusty Greer, and he had the game-tying surprise fly in the 9th before Mariano Duncan's BI single put the Yankees ahead. And eventually they win it 3-2. What a ball game.
This is what playoff baseball is about.
These two clubs are back out here for Game 4, noon Central, 1 Eastern time on ESPN tomorrow. Joe, Bob, and I hop on a flight to San Diego. Game 3 of the Padres and the Cardinals from San Diego tomorrow night. So for our director, Andy Rosenberg, our producer, David Neal, and the entire crew, Jeff Sleed, Elliot Kalb, Bob Uecker, of course, Joe Morgan, I'm Bob Costas. A taut, interesting ball game, and the Yankees now a win away from the LCS, but they need one more here in Texas. Good night, everybody.